Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the listeners of the Good Anime Palette podcast. We are back up again, now doing episode 62. Spring has officially ended in the anime cycle, and we are now entering the summer seasonal schedule of 2023, which means, if you've already seen the title, we're going to be going over some of the stuff we've watched, some of the stuff we're going to sort of preview and forecast, just because of the fact that this episode comes out just before most of the other things are releasing. But that's fine. We'll give our tidbits in terms of what we thought, and also maybe some sort of previews of what we expect out of certain series that we may or may not have watched just yet. Still Will, still Jason. My voice is kind of raspy at the moment, so please do forgive me if I don't sound as good as usual. But I'm sure Jason's silky, sultry voice is S tier 100%. 69ing right now.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, wow. Holy shit, dude. Oh, no. You're almost 40.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to age shame you.
First of all, I am not turning 40. But, like, what the fuck? Okay, all right. You piece of shit. You threw me off so much. Fucking. First of all, like, I'm not even close to 40.
No,
okay?
you're not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And even if you were, there's nothing wrong with that.
But we're young in heart. And let's weep the fuck out. Summer sun is blazing here in Hong Kong.
Jesus Christ, it's like 34 degrees today.
My friends in Australia were like, "Oh, dude, I want like hot summer." Well,
I mean, how cold does it really get in Australia though during the summers? Like because you were in Melbourne, right? Like how I don't think it ever snows out there, does it?
At least not. I mean, maybe out high in the mountains.
You have to get
maybe.
pretty mountainous for it, right?
I would say the lowest it would ever go is like single digits, but mid-single digits.
I guess if you're like really like southern Australia, is Darwin in the south of Australia or Perth?
Perth is in the west,
like straight west, like not even like southwest, just like the most western point.
Well,
something like that.
The way that Australia is there's this huge like section.
It's like a slab of rock, and you have like Sydney and Melbourne on one side, Perth on the other, and then everything else in the middle is just like spiders and desert.
Yes, exactly. It's like Las Vegas, Nevada desert, Fallout, Mad Max style.
Oh, there's Ayers Rock, right?
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, okay. There's Tasmania as well in the in the like bottom.
Hobart.
There's New Zealand in on the side. You know, there's But yeah, they were saying it gets, for me, it's like in CBD, like Melbourne Central Business District in downtown, it's like 10, 11 degrees.
Oh, that sounds so
which
nice
is so
right now.
good. And they were like, no, man, I love the summer so we can go out, barbecue, and surf and shit. And I'm just like, you guys need
That's a pretty like simple existence. I do like that, but at the same time, like 10 degrees is not cold.
Yeah.
That is like comfortable.
Oh, no, it's great. It was fantastic.
Right? It's like that's perfect like t-shirt and shorts weather. Maybe like a thin hoodie if you need it. But otherwise, like I would love to be in like 10 degrees right now because holy shit, 34
I've worn
degrees
winter coats before.
I would imagine like if it rains or if it's a little gusty with some
Yeah,
wind.
very gusty. Yeah. But I miss wearing winter coats. You never wear them here in Hong Kong.
No.
You never need to, even in the winter.
That's why like when Canada Goose, the Canadian Goose, the that big fucking jacket company like showed up in Hong Kong, I was just like, why? It never gets that cold here.
No, so you can look gangsta and hip hop.
It's also like you you're better off actually buying a ticket elsewhere to buy it over there and use it over there and then leave it over there. You're never going to be wearing that shit here in Hong Kong.
But dear listeners, you don't need to buy any tickets, although you will get them. It's for free because we have front row tickets for you guys for our summer preview for summer 2023. I guess it's winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess.
Technically still summer, but like temperature-wise, flip it around, right?
Yeah.
So
we're meteorologists, right?
Yeah. Before we get into that, of course, we will be going into some stuff that is either news-related or read and watch-related. Now,
Yeah, for the first time in a while, we have a reading watching, but it's like is not. It's like it's topical, basically.
Yeah. Did you watch anything?
Yes, I watched the Takagi-san movie, but we'll talk about it
Another
later.
time?
Yeah, because this is all about summer seasonal baby and news, of course.
So in this season, we will be going over the TV news seasonals. I fucking have to explain the rules again, unless you guys just want to go onto our website and find them there. They're on there now, right?
Yeah.
Should be. Cool.
Yep.
So there were a couple of specials, O&As, and a few other things that also popped up during this month, one of which is Fate Strange Fake. Whispers of the something. I forgot.
Whispers of Dawn.
Whispers of the Dawn. Yep. So this is a new adaptation that comes out from the Fate series.
Yeah, the Type Moon franchise that is known for. Yeah, so
this is a 55-minute special that is now airing on Crunchyroll. It's done by A1 Pictures. Fucking fantastic. There is a light novel that is attached to it. I think at the moment the score for it is like an 8.34 or 8.3 something.
Yeah, 8.34.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy thing. So I did some very light research into it. It started out as an April Fool's joke in 2008. Then all of a sudden, a year later, they're like, "Nah, son, psych. This is real." So they announced a novel and a manga, and now we have the anime adaptation, which they announced right after this prologue, which makes sense because it's a prologue. It's a 55-minute prologue.
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff for it as well during the Anime Expo, which we'll also get into just in a moment. But based on your sort of limited knowledge of the Fate series, what do you think Fate Strange Fake is all about?
So
you know all about like the Holy Grail War and all the different like servant classes and whatnot.
I would say you are more well versed in the Type Moon.
Of course, that's why I wanted to hear what you think, and then because I actually watched it, so then I was like, "What do you think this is about?"
Watch what?
Fate Strange Fake.
I did too.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah, I did. I watched all of it.
Okay, so you watched all of it.
All 55 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Americans ruining things.
That being said, though. 9 out of 10. I loved it.
It was good.
I loved
it was really, really good.
And
to sort of like give you like a quick summary, because there is actually a synopsis for the mangas. I mean, for the light novel as well. It's basically a copied version of the original Holy Grail Wars that happened in the Fate series, but because the Americans just basically botched it, there's a couple errors in terms of copying the data from this war, which means that there are certain classes that for some reason don't exist anymore, but there are also like fake classes that run around causing havoc, some of which actually be able to start.
Some are strange,
yeah.
right?
So you'll have like, well, yeah, you couldn't be more on the nose with this title here. So it's actually a really fun watch. I've always been a little bit hesitant in terms of going into the sort of spin-offs and offshoots of the Fate series. Like there's like Fate Grand Order or Fate Go, which started off as a mobile gacha before becoming like a standalone like series. There was also Fate Apocrypha. There's like the
Encore, right?
Fate Encore something. I remember I posted the name to you, but I completely forgot about it.
And there's like the Circus of Phantasm.
Yeah.
The shorts, the comedic shorts.
That one is basically not like just Fate stuff, though. It also is like Melty Blood, Skime, all the other Type Moon properties.
Then our
together.
favorite cooking show of all time, I guess.
Yeah, Carnival Phantasm, that's what it is.
Carnival Phantasm, right. So I was always very skeptical going into any Fate series. Of course, I have not watched the third route. The trilogy of movies. Oh, shit, I keep forgetting.
You forgot what it's called?
I did forget what's it called.
Heaven's Feel.
Heaven's Feel. Like I did not feel any of that yet. So,
but we have to watch it, man.
No.
We have to watch it.
I will definitely watch it. I watch Unlimited Blade Works. I did not watch the original first one by Studio Dean.
You don't need to.
And of course, it seems like.
Oh, do you watch Fate Zero?
No, I know I need to watch that too. But there is this like massive amount of baggage of lore and understanding. I mean, we did watch Garden of Sinners as well, right?
Yeah.
That's Type Moon. So,
unfortunately, not a whole lot of representation after 2009. I think that was the last time. Well, no, there must have been a few movies that came out afterwards, but generally, like the mid to late 2000s was like was that. That's all you got from Garden of Sinners,
and I'm okay with that too, right? So. But man, that 55 minutes not only was highly entertaining, it was very easy to follow. Even if you did not know exactly what is going on, you're just like, cool shit is happening. A1 Pictures is going to animate the fuck out of this. There's going to be awesome orchestral music, and Americans are fucking shit up because...
I actually liked like the good mix of music. There was like some metal, some jazz, some pop, some like, when you have those like weird dark tones, when it's like a little more supernatural mystery, because they had a few of those elements too, especially when introducing certain characters. Just to sort of like let y'all know what this specific like special is all about. It's a prologue. It essentially goes over the backstories of side characters that will be showing up when the actual Fate Strange fake adaptation fully comes out. So then it kind of like gives you like a little piece over here, a little piece over there. So when you start actually watching the series, you're not completely like inundated with so much lore and character backstory that kind of ruins and deters your overall experience of watching the main series.
Yeah, so in layman terms, it sets the stage and the players of this Holy Grail War. Of course, there is official terminology for these Type Moon, like players, caster, all these roles, all these master servant thing, Phantasm. You'll be like, the fuck are all these? All you need to know is just look at the screen, and then generally you'll get the gist. So if you're lost, it's okay.
That's completely fine.
Because I think you would understand the overall message. And I think credits to them, I think kind of a different take on this, because that's literally what this series is way more intricate and thought out that I give credit for initially as an April Fool's joke. I just really like the idea of it. And
I think Type Moon just basically knows they have like a banger property in their hands, so they're going to spend as much R&D on it to make sure that if they're going to be rolling out additional series for the Fate stuff, then they just got to come up with some good stuff. And at least from initial inspection, like literally watching this prologue, I'm pretty confident that this is going to be a good spin-off for the Fate series.
Yeah, I really like the different what do you call them? Servants and masters. They have a very interesting eclectic mix that is not your typical I guess like Unlimited Blade Works, and I'm guessing Heaven's Feel as well. It is just, I mean, one of them is, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it. It's just very unorthodox. Strange, if you will.
Yes. Fake as well. There are a lot of fakes in this. It's basically meant to be very confusing, because even the characters within the prologue are also really confused as to what the fuck is going on. So it's actually quite nice that not only are the viewers, like the real life viewers like us, actually just trying to piece everything together, so are the characters in the prologue itself. So I'm projecting this to be a pretty fun time for any Fate fans, or anybody that is like not necessarily a Fate fan and just wants to watch something. I do think, of course, if you're completely fresh to the Fate series in general, you probably should watch all the stuff that came before it. I mean, in terms of the core stuff, like the original Fate Stay Nights.
I would say Unlimited Blade Works minimum.
Well, I think though that actually no, you're right. You could probably get like 99% of what's supposed to come if you just watch Unlimited Blade Works. I would suggest you watch the first one, because even if it is trash, it's not the worst thing.
Well, I never watched the first one. However, even though I haven't watched it, I would highly recommend, based off of Will's just enthusiasm about it and just what I know of it, is Fate Zero. So I would suggest Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Zero at like per minimum.
Yeah, I'd say so. And if you have time, then throw in Heaven's Feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm extremely excited. And even though the whole point of the prologue is so that is like disruption, confusion, and chaos, it was very easy to follow. So it's not that like it's a messy prologue as much as it is questions that they purposefully left out that I'm hoping that, and they must cover in the anime itself, that currently does not have a release date, but I'm guessing 2024.
Likely. I don't foresee it coming out this year.
Yep.
So
would you give it?
I would give it a 9.
Yeah.
I would absolutely give it a 9. I think that the animation quality, it's hard to expect anything less from A1, just because of the fact that they've really upped the ante and working on more like action-based series in the past couple of months.
That fight in the desert, though,
that was cool.
That was pretty.
That was
hella pretty.
That was visually impressive.
Very.
The choice of music was great. Voice acting was solid as well. I was a little bit iffy in the beginning, but as the characters started developing, I was like, no, actually, they picked the right people for the right roles, and I have no worries, no concerns about when the full adaptation comes out.
It will be on our to watch list 100%. So that's it. All right, so now that we are done talking about what we have been watching outside of what we will be discussing for summer seasonals, we have gotten into a lot of news because Anime Expo was last weekend, which is the annual expo in America that has a lot of panels and a lot of announcements. We won't go through every single one of them because it's not really, we don't really need to.
Well, let's get two things out of the way first.
Oh yeah, that's right.
One
My
thing
bad.
is a seasonal that happened over spring. Mashle, the original manga that's based off of, is ending soon. Now,
No, it's ended.
Yeah, okay, ended. That was a couple days ago. Now you might be wondering, oh, that sucks. Well, to be fair, the creators also then mentioned that they're going to be doing a full adaptation for Mashle, so don't worry. Even if you are sad that Mashle is now done, you can still wait for more stuff to come out on the TV screen. There's also a adaptation for another manga that's going to be coming out. So whilst one has ended, one is now going to be getting the green light for a TV adaptation. Jason, take away because I have no idea what this manga is.
One of my favorite mangas is called A Sign of Affection, and they have announced an anime adaptation for January 2024. This is the manga about a girl who is deaf and tries to like have lovey-dovey romance with a guy, basically, and they're both in university. One thing that I really like about this manga is that it is extremely mature. It's extremely highly rated. It's like an 8.5 something.
How's it compared to A Silent Voice?
A Silent Voice is more like emotional turmoil, like trauma, whereas this one is very much growth in the opposite direction. Not saying that one is better than the other, but they both reach a destination of character development through different means. One is like basically A Sign of Affection does it through careful thought and consideration and just trying to understand one another. And A Silent Voice is basically baggage and trauma and dealing with it and bonding together through it, or, through adversity. So I'm extremely happy with The Sign of Affection getting an anime adaptation, and the trailer looks fantastic. So
they announced information about like the main cast, the staff. They've also dropped some promotional stuff, like some teasers, but there hasn't been a confirmation of which studio is taking over for it, right?
No, Igiado.
IG, where does it say that?
Right underneath the character portrait in the news story on Anime News Network. Yeah. So Ajido basically is a. I mean, Will, are you looking for them or?
It's not in the news article. Oh, there it is. Found it now. Okay, directing the anime. Okay.
Yeah, and they have done some works. I looked into it. I forgot which ones they were. But the trailer looks pretty sharp, and everything looks really great. I'm hopefully they will pull
Ascendant
it
of
off.
the Bookworm. That was Ajiado.
Oh yeah, that's the one I remembered. So
I think also How Not to Summon a Demon Lord was also Ajiado.
I think so. So they're a very competent studio for sure, and let's see it when it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, now on to the Anime Expo stuff. So it was held just this past weekend, at least no, actually when it was recorded, no, the previous weekend.
July
held at
1st to July 4th.
Yeah, held at the Los Angeles Convention Center, an annual event where basically they release a lot of promotional stuff. They have a lot of gigs and booths to basically showcase what's coming up in the year of anime, and also maybe just dropping some bombshells in terms of, new shocking revelations and things that are going to be adapted. Now, there's going to be a whole bunch of news that we're not going to go into, so I think just to make things a little more simple, we will link the overall news collection link on our page in the show description as well, just so you can always look into it later on.
Yep, thank you, Anime News Network. So we will link the repository for all of the Anime Expo stuff. But here are some that we wanted to really talk about and focus on.
Right. Number one, there is a long-standing series that has been running for quite a while, but is now going back. It is now going to be...
Bleach, right?
I wish you just stopped that. New Spice and Wolf TV anime is going to be debuting in 2024, with the main cast returning for it as well. So, All the Spice and Wolf fans, I know that I've watched part of the first season long time ago. I think overall there were 2 seasons.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, and then it's been almost a decade since the last one that came out. Now you're, finally going to be able to watch some more Spice and Wolf. Frieren, there was like a 2-hour anime debut.
Yep.
This anime will be premiering in September 29 of this year. The first ever television anime series to premiere on NTV's, that's Nippon TV for the abbreviation, Kinyo Roadshow, which is usually reserved for feature films. So it's going to be a banger because I think
2 hours, man.
I think
fuck.
How long was the Oshinoko one? Hour and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Frieren got that one beat then.
Holy shit! Like
I think it's also just like noteworthy as well that to be able to book up like a Friday evening programming block in Japan, like especially when it's reserved for big major like screenplays and films.
that's literally prime time. Like insane. The fact that Madhouse is just, I mean, hats off. They're so confident, and I'm glad. So I'm looking forward to sitting down for 120 minutes.
Yep. Another series that's going to be getting some new projects is Panty and Stalking with Garterbelt. Trigger announced a new video that's going to be detailing some of the new stuff they're going to be doing for the series. The Trigger also confirmed that the rights for the IP have now been taken back from Gainax to Trigger. So it seems to be a nice, smooth transition. On to the next one as well. This one is actually also, when I saw it, I was just like, what the fuck? But also, this could be kind of cool, considering that this particular comic series, the company that does it, hasn't had the best track record when it comes to doing live action stuff. Warner Brothers Japan and Wit Studio are coming together to unveil an original anime series that details an isekai using characters based on the DC comic verse, specifically Suicide Squad.
What the fuck? So, like, first of all, as Will, you mentioned, a lot of anime adaptations of comic book characters. I'm thinking along lines of like Marvel, like there was an X-Men one, Wolverine. I think there's
also some stuff that came from like the Star Wars like universe as well.
Right, Star Wars Vision, I think. On the DC side, there's of course Ninja Batman. That's probably the most well-known one that I've watched, and I quite liked actually. I know a lot of people did not like the aesthetics or the vision that it went. Obviously, Animatrix is technically not a comic book, but it's an anime adaptation.
Yeah, you see where we're going from here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I saw the trailer that was released, and is it bad that I'm kind of excited?
I mean, you should be, because, at the Anime Expo, George Wada, who basically runs the show with Studio, mentioned that if this anime is a success, that other DC projects will come in the future. Now, I think this is actually a nice, refreshing take on the industry itself, because this is not just me saying like, oh, Japan's got Galapagos syndrome and they're only producing stuff that's like Japan centric. But to be like, completely fair, it's very nice to now see that we're going beyond just pure Japanese source material, and we're now going into adapting stuff from other parts of the world. So let's see where this goes. I mean, it's been with Studios like thing to be able to not just work on strong Japanese series, but they've also had a penchant for doing other things outside of Japan as well.
I mean, manhwa, I would say, has a lot of hits, but also a lot of misses in general with webtoons and tapas. But it's not every day you see Harley Quinn and then all of a sudden a dragon from an isekai world is like in the background.
Wasn't there also like an adaptation for like a Mark Millar comic that came out like last year?
How come that sounds really familiar?
It was one that you said that you watched it. It was Super Crooks.
Oh, yeah, that was shit.
Yeah, you said it was like not great.
It was shit.
Right. So we're not saying that this is going to be a guaranteed hit. Wit have, dropped some duds before. And also, as we've seen, being able to adapt source material outside of Japan does not necessarily mean that it's going to be a banger. In fact, adaptation processes are always tough. It's going to be interesting to see how they're actually going to do it, because it's not just only adapting DC characters and properties. It's an isekai. That's the part where I'm like, how is that going to work? But knowing that, Japan's got a penchant for doing isekai stuff in general, whether it is video game based or reincarnation or reverse and whatnot. I am wondering, is this going to be kind of like a Ninja Batman situation where they just pull characters back in time and do something in feudal Japan, or is it going to be something else? Who knows?
I mean, comic books have different parallel timelines and different universes, so it's not unconceivable. But when you meld it in with a very well-known subgenre of anime, namely isekai, it's just really odd. That's not like, when I saw the headline, I was like, someone must have written a typo or something. But nah, bro, it's 100% real. And hey, we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah. Now, the last bit of news we do want to go over is more of an update because the original news source was posted several months ago. We mentioned that Pluto, one of the most legendary manga series that has been dying to get an anime adaptation, not only is going to be getting an anime adaptation, but just recently they've also mentioned how many episodes and how long each episode is going to run for, and it's all going to be announced right now because we're going to be telling you everything. 8 episodes, each one being 60 minutes.
And it will be premiering on Netflix October 26th.
Now, you read all of Pluto.
Yes, I did.
All 8 volumes.
Correct.
So, standard math there. 8 volumes, 8 episodes, 1 hour each. Do you think an hour is going to be enough to be able to adapt each volume of Pluto?
I certainly hope so, because there's a shit ton of talking and dialogue and exposition. Really good dialogue and exposition, mind you.
Which makes it hard then, right? Because a lot of times whenever people do adaptations and you have to cut material, it usually is some of the sort of like dead dialogue that gets removed. Like there would be like some arcs where like there's less conversation, maybe not as much plot, but more focus on action. But I don't think like Pluto is that kind of series, right, where it's like heavily action based. It's also using a lot of
extremely moody, you know, and it is not heavy on it. Maybe it's not a very good comparison or a fair one, but it reminds me of Watchmen, the very infamous Alan Moore graphic novel that I also love to death. It is just, there's a lot of action, but it's like interspersed like throughout, and it's actually more of a mystery and character study and reimagining of characters. I won't say exactly what, but if you Google it, you'll know exactly what it's a reimagining of. But what? So 8 times 60, 480. That is definitely longer than one cur of anime. So it's like a cur and a half, kinda. So, I mean, I also like the fact that they split them into 8 individual episodes of 60 minutes. So it's like a good end, almost exactly as the manga intended. So I think it's a good move. I'm surprised, but I'm also very happy about it.
Yeah, you don't really see many anime series running like hour-long episodes. This is more something that you usually see in like live-action series where things like kind of run for like 45 to 60 minutes per episode. I think like a lot of stuff like from The Witcher, from Narcos, anything with Netflix really, that usually runs for like an hour. But to see this move, I think that this is probably like going balls to the wall. Like they're literally putting like all their eggs into this basket and making sure that like they are doing the best possible choice to make sure that the story is fleshed out and told in full. Because if it was like 8-hour-long episodes, the inverse would be like 16 episodes, each one being 30 minutes, which I guess in terms of like an anime cur length, like a cur and a half, cur and a third, something like that, maybe it kind of breaks up the momentum. And like you said, since it's more moody, it's more dependent on like the characters and the environments, that you would need like more time to sort of brew that sense of dread and moodiness.
I mean, did you see True Detective season 1?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Oh,
no.
okay. I'm trying to think of like a show where there is a lot of stuff in terms of action that happens, but it's also extremely atmospheric and quite like silent. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of just characters talking, but at the same time, I mean, I don't really want to go off because it's like without me saying it and spoiling it, it also makes no difference to you guys at this moment. So all I will say is I'm very happy with what they announced and what they're going to do, and I'm looking forward to it. End of story.
So a lot of good updates that came out of the Anime Expo this year. We'll report back in again when Anime Expo 2024 kicks off. That's not going to be for another year. But again, since we didn't cover all the news articles, all the updates, as mentioned, we will include a collection list that was provided by Anime News Network in our show description. So in case there are things that we didn't really go over, you can check out that link and see what else has been updated in terms of new projects, new adaptations, or even just some funny shit that we may or may not have mentioned.
There was a panel where the creator of Uzumaki was like, the anime was like, oh, it's not dead, guys. And I was like, I did not include it in the news list.
I'm glad that they mentioned that because I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, to this day, they still don't have a confirmed release date for Uzumaki.
I mean, how many times did it get delayed? Like 3?
It's Production IG that's doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Production IG, but I feel like it's almost like a poison chalice to be given this property to work on because, man, it is hard to do. Like, there was another series of Junji Ito adaptation, something of the Macabre, I forgot what it was called, but it looked awful.
Oh, yeah.
It was on Netflix, and I was
Yes.
just it just did not look good, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's such a sad...
Tales of the Macabre, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that. I think they also did the Fish Gyo.
Yeah.
Like
Which I
ages
really
ago.
like.
Did they ever do Tomie? No, I don't think so.
I think they might have done a live-action Tomie.
I'm not surprised by that. But yeah, I know they did an Uzumaki live action. Okay, this is not going to be just the Junji Ito sad horror fest, okay? But hey, Uzumaki, come on, guys.
Yeah, there is. Yep. Film series for Tomie. There were several of them, actually.
Live action?
Wow, there's actually so many. Tomie, Another Face, Tomie Replay, Rebirth, Forbidden Fruit, Beginning, Revenge, Tomie versus Tomie, and Tomie Unlimited.
What the fuck is those titles?
Yeah, there was a lot of movies. I think in total there were
They're all anime?
no, they're all live action.
Okay, I feel a lot better because
Total runtime 788 minutes. So if you really like Tomie, look, I mean, you got movies to watch. I'm not watching them, unfortunately. That's just too much to watch.
you should read the hardcover original manga.
Oh yeah,
which
for sure.
I have,
Read the manga,
which I have. It's
that
great.
will be time well spent.
It's great. Okay, so that wraps up essentially the stuff that we have been reading, watching,
And all
as
the
well
news
as
is
news
coming
as
out, yeah.
well. Let's get into seasonal stuff.
Now, we will be talking about summer 2023, but, just as this is beginning, this does mean that we have to bring a close to spring 2023. So if you haven't finished your shit, get on it. That's also me. I need to finish a lot of stuff.
That's also me as well.
But one thing that has officially finished is the closing of the results for our GAP Spring 2023 seasonal bets. Now, we mentioned a couple weeks ago that the scores were very, very, very close. And I think that they've gotten even closer as time has gone by. We are now no longer collating results for it. We're going to be announcing the winner for this season's, or not this season's, for the Spring 2023 seasonal bet. I think that whilst my picks definitely gained a lot of momentum and started catching up, I think it was a little too late. I don't know if I've managed to overtake you, but I think that at the very least, I'm only like 0.01 or 0.02 behind you.
It is exactly 0.019.
Wow.
It is insane. It was 0.2 on the 0.02 on the dot, and then I had a sudden drop.
Of 0.01. 0.001. Yeah.
So it's extremely close. And I literally waited until 10 a.m. So then it was as close as possible before I had to get ready and come over.
So close, but no dice.
To be fair, though, despite the fact that I did win the spring 2023, it was not only very close, but judging by how the summer seasonal bet is going, you are heavily in the lead right now.
Yeah, but I think it's also because a lot of stuff hasn't released yet, right? I think I don't have scores for 4 or 5 of my series, and there's still some that you don't have scores for either.
I don't have scores for 4. You don't have scores for 5.
Yeah.
but I had 2 6s.
I've got 1.6.
Yeah, 6.99.
Which is 7 Spellblades.
Yep.
I think it's actually lower than that. I think it's 6.97 actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I mean, even from my judgment, I'll talk more about it later.
Yeah, the Great Cleric and Reborn as a vending machine did me dirty, but then again, after watching it, yeah, we'll get into that. So right now, our score differential is about 0.2.
Which is not that massive, really.
Yep. Especially because your heavy hitters of Jobless and Bungo hasn't factored in yet, and Bleach for me.
Yep.
But hey, we'll see how it goes. We will probably update you guys throughout or towards the end of the beginning of our next seasonal run for fall. So before we get into our break, though, Will, do you think we should give a little bit of a preamble into how we thought about our general thoughts of summer, and then after the break get into those shows, or how do you want to break this down?
Well, I think the way that we have things done, and remember, we were recording this episode a couple days before it actually releases, so there will be a few more series that release after this recording has come out. So this is not going to be like as fully comprehensive as we'd like for it to be. But in terms of how I generally feel the summer 2023 seasons have been doing, it pretty much is in line with how it was last year for summer 2022, in that it's probably going to be a dud. There will be some good series, but just like last year, summer tends to be a little bit slow. Anime series tend to not do very, very well. You will have like 2 or 3 really, really heavy hitters, but everything else will be dragged down by lackluster series, stuff that is just essentially rehashed bullcrap that came from like the previous seasons. I don't know. I definitely like the stuff that I really wanted to watch, but in general, it just felt a little bit lackluster. There wasn't a whole lot that was like holding my attention for a lot of the seasonals I was watching so far this season.
For me, overall, I would agree in terms of just the general performance, if you will, of all these shows as a whole. Of course, there will always be ones that I like more, winners, losers, diamonds in the rough, whatnot. But I also have to say, though, at least all of the shows that I watched, which was like at least over 10 shows, they all look very competently made and very pretty, with the exception of like a couple.
Yeah, I have thoughts about that too. I definitely saw some stuff that like looked really, really nice, but I still have complaints about them.
Yeah, and I think I have either the same complaints about those exact shows or the same comment in regards to other shows, but it's kind of hollow, right? Basically, all style, no substance is kind of how I feel about most of these shows. Does that mean they're all bad? No. But it is definitely very uneven, is how I would say it.
Yeah. So what I would suggest we do now then is we take a quick break. It is a break that comes in a little bit earlier than usual, but I think that we do want to spend some time sort of properly dissecting and giving our 2 cents for the series we have watched, and also spend some time speculating on what we expect of the unannounced shows, as in the stuff we haven't mentioned today just yet, and see if we can sort of guide your way through how to navigate summer 2023.
I mean, all these seasonal episodes are always a pleasure to do. It's a lot, but it's going to be long, guys. So, yeah, we decided to take a break slightly earlier to get replenished.
Yep. So we'll get back to you after this break.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the second, well, not half, but the second portion of the Good Anime Palette, episode number 62, where we talk about summer seasonal for 2023. Will's here, I'm here, and we're going to give you everything that you probably would need or want in terms of the rundown for summer seasonals for 2023. What's up, Will? How's it going?
Yeah, so I think that we usually go over a list of series that we're not going to mention, but there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been out yet, so it just doesn't really seem worth mentioning those. Rather, we can just spend time sort of going over the stuff we have watched, stuff that we like, stuff that we didn't, stuff that we were maybe sort of wanting more of, and our perspectives may change over time, and then we'll go over the stuff that we haven't watched just because they're either not out yet or we never got time to do it. But maybe sort of throw in some speculation and preview what we might expect when these series actually air.
So, as we mentioned every time we do these seasonal reviews, we really mainly focus on the TV new on my anime list. So, if it's a continued curta or not, they don't count, as well as ONAs and specials. However, this time around, rather than focus on the stuff that we don't cover, as Will mentioned, I want to focus at least maybe like 5-10 minutes on some of the shows that, even though they're not on TV new, you probably want to look out for. I think, for example, Bastard Season 2 on July 31st is pretty good.
Yep, Netflix exclusive, 15 episodes. I watched Season 1, and I thought it was, Season 1, Part 1, and I really, really liked it. I haven't watched Part 2 yet.
And then also, of course, probably one of Will's most favorite IPs, definitely from Netflix.
And you've been getting into it as well.
Listen, that last fight that involves a certain grappler, my God, such a good fight. Such a good fight. I'm excited for Season 2 of Kengan Ashura that will premiere in summer 2023, also on Netflix. So, nothing much to say about that other than I'm expecting the tournament to keep continuing. That's it, right? It's not really a spoiler.
Another series is getting a second season that will be airing soon. Link Click, the Chinese animation series. Neither of us have watched it, but if you look at its score on my anime list, it is extremely high.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Season 1.
Yeah, you said it was okay. You said it was good, but
it was extremely good.
The only thing that was a little bit jarring was just hearing the Chinese, just because you've been so accustomed to hearing things in Japanese.
Exactly, right? And it's so dumb for me to like switch to the Japanese dub in that situation, and I was staring at the subtitle like region, be like, why isn't there no subtitles? But I also understand what these people are saying. Oh yeah, of course, because it's in Mandarin Putonghua, duh. But it was a very good show, and it is probably gonna be critically acclaimed for Season 2. So if you are into Link Click, Season 2 is coming out on July 14th.
Yep. A series that Jason also really likes, Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You. There is a sort of like special. I think it's like 4 little mini episodes, or is it?
It's just 4 episodes.
Oh, but it's like a small arc.
Yeah, okay. Correct. So it is just called High School Days on July 12th. It is probably the only Crunchyroll original that I would say, minus Tower of God, that is really worth your time.
Yeah, speaking of Tower of God, that one's going to be coming out, I think, later this year or sometime next year.
I think it was winter.
So it should be like in about 6 months' time from now.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Bam. We're excited, though.
Yep.
We need to finish Season 1. I didn't finish it yet.
Neither have I. Not since we, talked about it, for our Crunchyroll episode, which was actually released like almost 3 years ago now.
It's it's episode 4, I think.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, we also talked about Fate, Strange Fake. Definitely watch it. Even if you're not a Fate fan or you haven't gotten into the Fate series yet, I think it's definitely worth checking out. And maybe after watching it, it might pique your interest in actually going back into the original series that's released over 10 years ago.
I think, yeah, as Will mentioned, I think that is extremely likely. Like, if you don't know anything and you go in and watch it, you might be like, oh wow, this might be my time to get into it, because that rabbit hole is deep and in many ways is worth venturing down. So these are the shows that are not going to be covered by us, but we also just want to give a special honorable mention or a nod to. Now, Will,
we're gonna be getting into the stuff that y'all been waiting for, which is discussing the current slate of seasonals for summer 2023. Should we just go over the stuff we just watched and then just rate whether we like it or not and whether people should check it out?
Wait, as in like a quick fire?
Yeah.
Well, so then people...
Not necessarily a quick fire, but we just go over because we usually would just go over the stuff that are sequels first, and then stuff that are like standalone, like new series, and then stuff that we didn't really care for. Maybe just freestyle it and just speak what's on our mind.
I say we can freestyle it in terms of the order. I don't think we should just like spend like 2 seconds now to say yay, nay for all of them.
No, we're not saying that. That's not what I meant. Like,
my bad.
That's not what I meant at all.
All right, then who's the first on the podium?
Probably the most hyped sequel to be airing this season, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Now, there is something that we should mention. For those who are going to be watching it, you might be a bit confused as to the main characters that are on the screen for episode 1, but you do not need to worry because in terms of how it was adapted from the manga, we are now actually going back in time. So it actually, whilst being a season 2, is more of a prequel when it first starts out. Not in the sense that like Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was actually a prequel to Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1. It's more just like the arc that goes over the backstories of the older senseis in terms of when they were learning to become cursed sorcerers and whatnot.
And who they end up being in Season 1. So it's not necessarily a spoiler because that will be the first thing you see the moment you watch it. And to my knowledge, Will, because I actually don't own the manga, I don't think you do as well, I'm guessing that this is literally the next arc that the manga focuses on. So they didn't like go out of order.
Exactly. No, they're just basically adapting it as they go from the manga. So don't worry if you're confused. This is meant to be the way it's consumed. So you don't have to go back and forth from like the previous Jujutsu Kaisen and the movies and whatnot.
It currently has an 8.70 on my anime list, rank 51, and popularity 561. Obviously produced by MAPPA and the
551 now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And the manga is available in English by Viz Media. So one of the things that I think is also worth mentioning before we get into how we feel about it is also the fact that this is a double cur that is continuous. In other words, it's 25 episodes, I think, was it?
It'll run all the way to the end of this year. So there's no break in between the two curs. Yep. It is just a full-on onslaught of Jujutsu Kaisen.
So no part 1, part 2. I just double-checked. 23 episodes. And they already announced that they will focus on the 2 arcs. You're obviously watching the first arc. And then the second arc is probably the most well-known arc. Even if you don't know anything about Jujutsu Kaisen, we even know about it, and we don't even know what the hell it is. It is the Shibuya incident, and the Shibuya incident is not only going to be covered in that, second half, because it's a long-ass arc.
I would assume that season 3 would basically wrap up everything, if they're to go by a double cur system again.
Yep.
So instead of the usual trifecta of Yuji Itadori and Megumi Fushiguro, along with Nobara Kugisaki, we have now got a new trio of characters to focus on, which include
not new.
Well, it's new in terms of being as the main cast for a series, right? So Shoko Ieri, along with Suguru Geto, and the much beloved stud Satoru Gojo.
So one thing that I thought that was really cool about Jujutsu Kaisen being a prequel is the fact that a lot of the characters, you're like, oh, I recognize that character. Oh, that she's like the doctor. Oh, he is... Oh, I don't really want to focus on what happens to one of the 3 people. And then there's obviously Goto. And the principal, I think, shows up in the very beginning as well. And it's just kind of cool to see all these different characters, but obviously back in time. And it's just really cool to see the backstory, which I'm assuming is the context that you would need to feel that emotional impact when they go back to present day.
Yep. Now, for me to put on my critical hat, I was only okay with episode 1. I thought it was just very bog standard. It wasn't necessarily super fantastic. Some of the fight sequences were cool, but you kind of already expect that from Jujutsu Kaisen. I was a little bit I did notice some jittery animation in the first 5 minutes of the episode. I'll go over them with you offsite later on to sort of explain why I thought it was kind of jittery.
Speaking of which, even though we're going back a bit, Strange Fake, there were a couple of seconds in the whole 55 minutes that were super questionable to me.
That's A1.
Yeah.
That's just A1 in terms of like, I mean, it does require a lot of manpower to be able to, render things very, very smoothly. But you can kind of forgive them. I mean, that's why I forgive Jujutsu Kaisen on having, sort of stuttery animation in the first 5 minutes.
I really like the concept, at least, of the beginning sequence. The intro, I guess, action scene before everyone kind of reveals themselves. I just thought that was a kind of a nice kind of reintroduction to season 2 and a build-up. I thought the OP was kind of whatever. The ED was kind of whatever, which is a bit disappointing, depending on how your take on season 1's OP is.
Oh, I like season 1 OPs.
I love both of them.
So far, I agree with you. They were kind of okay. They weren't amazing, but they'll do the job.
I just feel like the whole thing of season 2's first episode was, oh, these are all these characters that I really dig, but it just doesn't feel like, oh, the gang is back together in that sense. Like, okay, it could maybe focuses on like characters that are not quote unquote the core in season 1, but it still doesn't feel like, oh, I'm super hyped back in it again for JJK. I am hyped, but not like expecting. I was expecting a bit more. Maybe that's unfair, but
yeah, I think also in terms of like character interactions, backstory, and like the flow of the episode, I'll be very honest, it kind of just felt like I was watching an episode of Naruto.
Okay, I can't believe I was worried I was going to say that, but you jumped the gun on it. I really did feel the same thing. Yeah. In fact, that was the first thing I thought of. I was just like, oh, except they're all cool. They're all like cool kids.
This is like the before Sasuke becomes an asshole arc,
It's just like, oh, Goto's just being his rebellious cool guy. Oh, they talk on the phone and oh, they're so overpowered that shenanigans ensue, right? And I'm just like, I get it. And I'm not saying it doesn't look cool, but it feels a bit overdone at this point.
I also think one thing I observed too was like how close the names of those two characters are as well, like Suguru Geto and Satoru Gojo. Like they legitimately.
Do you think that was done on purpose?
Possibly.
I don't know. Actually, I legit don't know.
I think maybe they sound very similar, but if you were to see the kanji, then maybe there's like more significance as to why they have those names. They might be like polar opposites in terms of like the actual
like
meaning.
A yin and yang type thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a very good chance, especially when you factor in the themes of Jujutsu Kaisen. But I just don't give a shit about the quote unquote like mission that they're on.
No,
I don't give a shit about the factions that they're on. Like the different, like there was like a political faction, religious faction. I'm just like.
I just want y'all to beat some cursed monsters. That's it,
Why is it called Q? I don't fucking know, guys. But, like, okay, let's see how it goes. Maybe we'll eat our words when more episodes show up. I think it is still a decent showing, but it's just not the same, like, bang that I remember JJK being.
Which is why we need to also stipulate, too. Just because y'all see 8.7 on my anime list for the entry of JJK2, it's not an 8.7. At least not right now.
My guess is like 8.3, 8.4.
8.4.
Something like that.
I'd say 8.4.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit lower depending on how it progresses. But I think because of the fact that they're introducing the Shibuya incident, it could spike the score a bit more. But one thing that could also drag it down is where they choose to end season 2, because it could be it could be a cliffhanger situation.
It could be. And also, if they don't announce season 3 after season 2 right away,
they have to.
If they don't, they fuck up. And look, we'll see. But I will definitely watch it. You should definitely watch it.
I mean, you have a whole 6 months of it. Not to say like continuous, like every day you get JJK, but like it will be released over the course of the next 23 weeks. With barring any force of God or
what was the first episode of season 1 like? Do you remember? I don't remember exactly.
Yuji gets beaten up and then he eats a finger.
Okay, I do remember now.
I'm sorry if I spoiled it for anybody, but that's literally the first episode.
And then he's tied to the chair and talks to Goto. Okay, I have to say that was way more even though I don't remember, but now I do. It's more memorable than the first episode.
Yeah, but I think it's fair because you do want to sort of give a little bit more backstory as to the relationship between Gojo and Geto. right? Because the fact that
That's the whole point of the Shibuya incident. That's my guess.
Yeah, not to mention there are also certain characters that get released, they get introduced throughout this episode that start showing ties with the contemporary trio of Fushiguro.
Yes.
And Itadori and all that.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense that one of the trio currently being focused for season 2, the first half, is not on the front lines, but is heavily involved in the school in season 1. But she's not like of the trio, and the trio break up, right, in season 1. So I think that's not a spoiler per se. So how did that happen? What led up to it? We're going to find out. That was a long bit, but I love JJK, dude.
I like it too, but I have to say that like they got to move past this trio cliche. I know it's never going to end. It's always going to be a mainstay in shonen action, but it just felt kind of dated for me watching that. But I'm also excited to see what's to come. Plus, not to mention Gojo's beautiful blue eyes. They were
very beautiful,
very sparkly.
But it's not the winner of most beautiful eyes this season, in my opinion.
Right. Who takes that award?
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about that right now, or do you want to?
Should we talk about that?
Do you want to save it for later?
No. We can talk about it now. We'll jump around.
Right. Who's the winner so far for most beautiful eyes in summer 2023?
Funny enough, it is the name of the anime called "The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses," based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Koma Fujichika. God damn it, I'm really bad with these pronunciations.
Koma Fujichika.
Who did the story and the art, published in English by Kamaki and Square Enix on their web app Manga Up. Produced by GoHands, which is an interesting anime studio in terms of my personal opinion on them. Mal currently has the anime at 7.28, rank 2672, popularity 1992, and the manga source has a score of 8.06, rank 623, popularity 504. The story of the girl I forgot her glasses is very much like one of those romantic
subtext.
It's a girl you're trying to figure out. She's kind of mysterious, like Kubo-san. It is like Komi can't communicate. It's one of those, except this time the quirk or the interesting aspect of this girl towards the main guy character is that she can't see for shit. Because guess what? She forgot her glasses. That is the main premise of the show. Straight up, Will, have you watched a lot of GoHands production? Have you watched K, right?
Yeah.
I watched Handshakers. Well,
and I heard that one was absolutely garbage.
I mean,
K was boring.
Was K at least good looking?
It looked good. It was just very badly directed, I think.
So, one thing is that I have not watched K or any other GoHands production since Handshakers, which, to be fair, is like a really bad thing because Handshakers was horrendous. However, watching this show and watching another GoHands production airing this anime season, I was actually quite impressed with the look. Not the direction, the look.
Yeah. So, literally the beginning 5-minute sequence of, I'm not including the OP here, of, the girl who lost her glasses. Visually, very, very colorful. Very, very bright, I have to say. The color contrasts worked very, very nicely. I thought that the animation, though, was shit.
Okay. So this is the point where we might have a bit of contention. I think it wasn't extremely poorly executed. However, it just didn't feel smooth like it should be. However, I did like
you have to applaud for them to be ambitious with how they wanted to animate it, right?
It gave me like Studio Orange, Land of the Illustrious vibes in terms of
what they were trying to do. Maybe not executed that way. Like, you can't compare it to Orange. That's just the gold
not
standard.
fair. Yeah,
it's literally the Orange standard.
And the thing with Studio Orange or Polygon Pictures is that they're all 3D.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter.
Here, it's like a mixture of the two, which I was very surprised at. It should have not worked as well as it did, but it's not. It's far from perfect. But I'm like, well, this is head and shoulders above Gohan's handshakers.
It's still not great, I'd say, in terms of like how I felt the animation was done.
Was K like that?
K didn't have any 3D in it.
So K was very much a traditional.
It just
2D.
It just felt very static, to be honest.
Shit.
The less we talk about K, the better, because I did not vibe with it whatsoever. Yeah, I felt that sometimes, like, the way the characters move, especially when they were doing 3D rendering, it felt kind of like you're watching like PlayStation 1, sort of like those like tank control movements.
I'm nodding my head. I know listeners can't hear me nodding my head. I'm nodding my head. Yeah. Completely.
Now, the story itself, it's cute, bubbly, very, very warm. My problem is, though, that, like...
Hold on. This is my one sentence take of it, okay? I did not know the girl I like forgot her glasses is a KB can't... Shit, what did I say? I said a KB can't be invisible. That's what I thought. It was a mixture of a KB sailor uniform, Komi can't communicate, and Kubo-san.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at the other Gohan's production, the direction, because the manga doesn't have any of what I'm about to tell you, has a fetish with, like, legs, lower body. It's extremely obvious to me.
Right.
Nothing against that, but it's just very out of place.
Especially in a school setting.
But
that's also, I guess, where, like, that...
Like, it's not perverted. It's not perverted, but it's just very obvious that...
It's questionable.
It's not only questionable, but it's also, like, perplexing. Like, you don't need to do that, but okay, I guess. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of... What is going on? This is not Miru tights. Okay, so, okay, sure, though. However, those eyes do look really nice, though. Sparkly.
Yeah, I'd still say Gojo, but that's just,
Biased.
No, I probably feel that there would be a lot more people that agree with me.
Oh, no, 100%, of course.
Yep.
I am overall impressed with the first episode, although it is not flawless.
Yeah, I felt that maybe it's just the fact that we get so many of these romantic subtext type kind of series.
Yeah, also it's like overdone, guys.
There's
I love them, but
yeah, there's like my clueless first friend from the previous season.
That's
there's
another one.
Takagi-san.
That's another one.
Komi can't communicate.
Yeah.
To some extent, I suppose Uzaki-chan has some of it as well, even though it's more on the annoying comedic side.
Nagatoro-san is also technically a mismatched couple type thing. Of course, it is less, it's more in your face and hazing, in my opinion.
Absolutely awful, yeah.
Than lovey-dovey, awkwardness, cute puppy loves type shit. But mismatched couple. But okay, sure.
Yep.
Also, I don't know how that shtick is going to, continue. But hey, dangers in my heart proved us wrong, apparently. So,
but to be fair as well, it's like Jujutsu Kaisen is just another shonen action, right? You're going to be seeing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over because that's generally what people want, or that's just generally what the industry is trying to pump out because they know it works.
I will definitely keep watching. The girl I like forgot her glasses.
I'm on the fence with it. I don't hate it, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot that is keeping me enticed. And I think the score that they have right now for it, like, of course, we were talking about how like you shouldn't really judge scores based on like the first or second week impressions just because it's way too early.
But it's still consistent in terms of every like week 1, week 2 stats, right? Because everyone would have the same kind of practice, I would say.
The 7.28 is decent. It's not amazing, but it's definitely enough for people to be like, oh, I can check it out, Especially if you're into like that romantic subtext kind of genre, then sure, like this is another thing you can check out.
Yep. All right. What's the next one we're on, Will?
Why don't we go into something else that you probably would be more in tune to talking about, because this is a series that probably took a little bit of time to come out, but I think it was also very, very necessary. Horimiya, The Missing Pieces, simply because I think when it first came out, it was definitely very popular. A lot of people like held it in high regard, but the main complaint was the fact that in just one season, they essentially covered the whole damn manga series.
Yeah, and the whole damn manga series is 16 volumes, 125 chapters completed. And it is written by Hiro, and the art is done by Daisuke Hagiwara. And the spinoff is obviously also produced by Cloverworks, and the original anime was done in winter 2021. And I watched the first episode. Will, did you by chance watch the first episode?
No, because I didn't finish. To be fair, I don't think I needed to finish Horimiya.
Yeah, you didn't. In order to get a take on this show, you didn't even have to watch it. But I would say that I was surprised at what they covered, as well as in the opening, they implied a lot of things that would be covered throughout the span of the 16 volumes. And essentially, I do think it's kind of cool that when you are it's a spin-off / continuation, but it is filling in the blanks between all these major events. You can tell what part be due to the fact that, oh, this person's hair was long, this person didn't dye their hair, and it's just interesting to see what they focus on. And it actually still looks exactly the same.
Yeah. What's not exactly the same, though, is at least the perceived manga score for it, because whilst the original adaptation has an 8.2, currently Horimiya, The Missing Pieces stands at an 8.32. So it's a whole 0.12 higher than its predecessor. Do you think that's accurate? Do you think that because of the fact that people have been waiting to see all the stuff that wasn't adapted, that people are a little bit more excited to watch it? Or do you feel that this is just kind of like early days, let's all calm down and actually watch everything first before we judge this?
I mean, Horimiya is extremely popular. It is ranked 100, the original's like 2021 series. So, of course, people are going to be hyped to watch it. And, of course, the score is inflated. All I will say is it's the same. Same shit, different day, but best possible way. If you like Horimiya, there is absolutely no reason why you should not continue and watch The Missing Pieces.
Yeah. So do you think that like the increase in the score compared to the original source is justified, or do you think it's just hype, really?
It's just hype.
But good hype, though, right?
Very good hype. It is a bit overblown, especially when it is disjointed like vignettes almost, meant to be slotted into various parts in time.
Yeah, because the way that, like, for example, Ranking of Kings and the Chest of Courage, the way that they did that was actually quite nicely done, because they literally ran it in according to how the original series also panned out, too. So it wasn't like time skipping from one story to another story back and forth. I know it's only just one episode right now for Horimiya The Missing Pieces, but do you feel that it will be like that as well? It will be like a gradual sort of continuation, like, just literally slotting in each specific point along the main story, or do you think there's going to be like jumping pieces here and there?
I mean, it's hard to say in terms. Okay, based on the first episode, I think that's the case. Of course, it is really hard because the original manga does not necessarily have a quote-unquote Missing Pieces spin-off. They just have the manga. Okay, they do jump in time in the manga, but it was deliberate. It was intentional. Whereas here, it's kind of like, oh, we couldn't write it in because we want to focus on the really important milestones, but here are some other stuff.
Yeah. It could literally just be like, okay, well, here for episode 1, we're adapting chapter 25 of the manga, and in episode 2, we're doing chapter 42, and so on and so on.
No, that's exactly it. One thing I will argue, though, is if you were theoretically, let's say The Missing Pieces were done, and obviously the main series, Horimiya, is done, and you were to splice it all in chronological order, it actually, I think, would not be as effective as it is now. Because it's kind of cool. It makes you remember, oh, this in time was their oh, these two characters were still in their awkward phase, or this event hasn't happened yet, but and they know, the creators of the anime know. So then they're like splicing in all this foreshadowing. So it does add that extra layer of nostalgia in a way, as well as like hinting at things that the characters in the anime would not know that everyone else knows. So I think that's like the added layer of spin-offs that's just cool to me.
Got it. Okay. Should we move on to another series?
Of course, let's move on.
Yeah, so...
Oh, I would say watch it.
So two of the ones that we've mentioned so far, right? Jujutsu Kaisen, Season 2, as well as Horimiya, The Missing Pieces. Both of them are very highly rated right now. Both of them, respectively, 8.7, 8.32. There is, of course, another series that is hovering above an 8, and I'm talking about My Happy Marriage. Now, this is a series that upon first inspection, especially after seeing the trailer, I was cautiously optimistic. I was like, oh, this could be cool. It seems to be something that's a little bit different from what we usually watch. I mean, for the fact that we've been talking about the romantic subtext, we're talking about watching like romance comedies, like rom-coms. We've been talking about shonen actions. This one is a slightly more sort of like historical, fantastical, sort of like tragic romance story, which you don't really see very often. You do get like specks of it every couple seasons, but I'm glad that we finally have something to watch that is completely different from all the other series we'll be mentioning later on. So it's just some background information. It started off as a novel series, which is still ongoing, by Akumi Agitogi, who did the story. The story itself was published in English by Yen Press. The adaptation for the manga, still the same writer, but also adding Rito Kosaka for the art, and that one is published in English by Square Enix Manga.
There's currently 3 volumes, and I've read all 3.
Yeah, so the animation is produced by Kinema Citrus of Shield Hero fame. And it's at the moment going through simulcasting on Netflix. So if you don't have Crunchyroll, which confusing, you definitely should have that, then at least you can watch it on Netflix.
No, I think it's exclusive.
Exclusive? Oh yeah, no, because that's right, because in the beginning it says produced a Netflix series.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Yeah, if you don't have Crunchyroll, don't worry, go on to Netflix. You got some good stuff to watch there too.
But you still need Crunchyroll, probably, in our opinions.
High Dive?
It's a tough sell, but if you can, I definitely think
$5.
You definitely should. I do.
Or really just do a 1-month free trial and see.
Yeah, just we do not have a code, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, no.
So the anime currently has an 8.06, rank 504, popularity 2355, and the novel, so not light novel because it's based on a novel, has a source score of 7.76. And the manga adaptation has a raw score of 7.97. Now, I really like the manga a lot. Like, a lot. The story is very typical, tragic character. I mean, it's really funny to me that Kinema Citrus did this adaptation, because when you look at Shield Hero, especially what happens in, like, the first season, I just feel like it is this all over again.
Made in Abyss also was done by Kinema Citrus, right? I believe so.
I think. I forgot.
I think they did. But in terms of like the tragic character story, that's literally what the story is all about. It's about a woman where in her childhood she was actually born out of a loveless marriage, and when her mother died, her father took her back in, but instead of reintegrating her into the family, he decides that she is better suited to become a servant of the family. Because
no, I think he remarried.
Yeah, because he brings her back in. The wife definitely does not see anything good about her. The new wife also has a child of her own, and then she then becomes, because I think it's like depending on like certain powers or magic that you have, it means that you have higher respect and therefore have a higher chance of ascending to the throne.
There is like some very basic levels of mysticism involved, but it is light. The main area of focus is more of this character, essentially, was it Cinderella? It's a Cinderella story. It's exactly a Cinderella story. And the main character gets arranged marriage to this really ice cold kudere.
At least that's what the general perception is, because this is, of course, during a time when arranged marriages were thriving.
Is it like Meido? What was that like era in Japan? Like in terms of look, it's like
I forgot.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
It's like there's trams and it's like
basically
westernized, early westernization
has kicked in. So it's not like super like feudal, but it was definitely like not contemporary. You'd probably be looking at something that's like maybe like 60, 70 years in the past.
They also so Kinama Citrus did do Made in Abyss.
Okay, thanks for confirming. So the main character Mio, as mentioned, she herself was born into a family that was arranged. Right, her father and her unfortunately deceased mother were both arranged to marry after the death of her mother. Brought into the family as a servant, and she does have a sort of love interest in the beginning, but then she finds out that things just don't go her way, because just like her choice in being the servant, she also has no choice in who she loves and marries.
Things essentially never goes her way, and that's perceived in the very beginning of, like, right at the beginning. It's just like, shit is not going to work out for you. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, and you know else? What really, really sucks? You don't get to choose who you marry. We choose it for you. You're going to be marrying this guy, a military captain who's rumored to have been so ruthless and so cold that he's just basically driven out every single arranged partner that he's ever come across. And now Mio is the next in line.
So whatever your perception of arranged marriages in this world, the lore, this is like standard operating procedure. So that's just the way it is.
You can't question it, really, right?
Yeah, and because it's the first episode, of course, they have to lay the groundwork in terms of how tragic and how fucked up Mio's life is prior to basically Cinderella achieving the praise, the recognition, the honor that she truly deserves. And, of course, mentioning Shield Hero, I can tell you for a fact that there will be karmic justice, and it is hella sweet. Because it's the first episode, there's literally you can't have any of that.
It's a slow burn.
It's a hell of a slow burn. I can't convince a lot of people to be like, it's one of those where like, oh guys, you will get your due. There will be karmic justice. I can only tell you, you'd be like, oh, you're just a source reader. Like, who do you know?
And to be fair, it's like you're also talking to people that are like, I can't wait for Mushoku Tensei Season 2 to come out. Oh, I really, really want to watch more Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2.
Absolutely.
I get that.
There is some light supernatural stuff, but there isn't any in the first episode. It doesn't really get... Oh, but not really, Jason.
I think at that point, you're also missing like the major point of this.
It's her marriage. It's her marriage. It's
literally
a love story.
in the title, right? And you're looking at it, it's called My Happy Marriage, but the first episode is depressing as fuck. Like, really fucking sad.
It is so sad. What do you think of the look in terms of the visual aesthetic?
I thought it looked great. I thought it looked really, really good. Okay, maybe not really, really. I think
it looks sharp to me. Like everything looks like if this was on an OLED, like high definition screen, it would be like sharp.
Yeah, and honestly, despite how we feel about other Kinema Citrus properties like fucking Shield Hero, as well as
season 2 though.
Season 2, yeah, and
season 1.
And made it. Well, season 1 was also there were problems with it too, right? And then of course, our feelings about Made in Abyss. Whilst we might not vibe with everything they do in terms of plots and story and characters, we can't fault them in terms of how things look, and they generally do a pretty damn good job at animating and designing characters that just look great. And I don't have any differing opinion on how the characters look in My Happy Marriage either.
I mean, for every Rising a Shield Hero, there is a Barakamon and a Review Starlight in my book. So you guys are more than fine. And I'm happily looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yep. Now I want to go into...
It is a slow burn, though.
I want to go into something that's a little bit more fast-paced, and personally something that I feel is going to be a dark horse in the summer 2023 lineup. I'm not sure if you've watched it. I'm pretty sure you have. Undead Girl Murder Farce.
Of course I did.
You watched it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Now, as absurd a name as this series is, there's nothing absurd about the overall feeling of what this story is about. So, based on a novel series by Yugo Aosaki, who did the story, the manga adaptation was published in English by Kodansha. This is the part that is also very shocking as well. Produced by Lapin Track. Now, historically, they've been mostly like secondary or like co-production studios. No, they don't really do a lot of standalone projects. This is one of the main ones they've done so far.
In fact, I think this is the only one where it's only their name, because when I looked on their credits on my anime list or Anime News Network,
they're usually attached to something else, right?
Yes, and that other one was usually like Wit Studio or A1 Pictures. There was one by A1 Pictures, there was one by Wit Studio. I was just like, very much those are like the chief animation studio, and this is like the assisting one. I know that sounds like disparaging potentially, but essentially they are in a support role, so this is kind of like one of their main like
opportunities to shine, right? Now, because of how obscure this series is, the manga source doesn't actually have any score data, whether it's membership or rankings or even raw score on my anime list.
They do, but it is not eligible to be like numerated. Like if you really dig deep, you will find numbers, but usually they're very bare bones or inconsistent. I forgot the threshold needed to be listed.
To be fair as well, when it comes to the score for the anime, in terms of like the data, 36,000 members, which is not a whole lot. It's still a fair amount, but I think it's mostly like curiosity and the actual people that are like super excited to watch this series.
It was only out like today or yesterday, something like that. Was it several days ago?
I think a few days ago. Okay. At least as of recording, right?
Yes.
But you'd be happy to know that at least on first impression, the current MAL score the raw score is a 7.64, which I think is very, very appropriate.
Okay. Will, we're going to make an executive decision on the spot. We cannot exactly describe what the anime/manga/novel is about because it's so weird.
What I would say is it's stereotypical historical shonen action. A lot of action that happens in the first episode. Very, very bloody as well. But also some supernatural mystery shit that goes thrown into it. The murder farce is definitely the main point here.
So, I read one volume of the manga a while back because it was such a weird title. And the cover, I think, is of a cage with something in it, let's just say.
Yep.
So I was just like, I just have to know what this is. I read it, and I was like, oh, they announced an anime? Okay, I will just like hold tight and see how this goes. This is going to sound insulting, Will, but I think Undead Girl Murder Farce is very much in the same vein as Monogatari. Especially, there was a dialogue scene and like walking and essentially just talking. Now, is there a lot of...
Oh, definitely nowhere near as intricate though.
No.
But now that you mention it, I can kind of see it.
It's like a pale imitation. It's like
it's when two smartasses talk to each other and try and outsmart each other. Basically,
we're not talking about us, okay? We're like...
Why else were we doing a podcast?
No, we're not two smartasses. I get it. Okay,
we're just two asses.
We're just two asses.
Yeah,
two cheeks. Okay, but don't you think, like, especially there was a scene where,
like, literally, like in the halfway through,
yes, correct,
where it's like they're outside a house and they start talking, and it's just panels like moving back and forth, and it's on one side vignettes of one character and on the other side a vignette of another character, and then they come together and then they seal the deal, and then they move on to essentially do the end credits, move on to the next episode.
But that dialogue is like a long ass dialogue, and they kind of move through this kind of weird environment.
What's actually really great about it too is it literally discusses the whole backstory of what the fuck these two characters are doing.
And it wasn't boring, too. And to be fair, there was still action. There's a lot of gore and blood, but done in a way that it makes sense in the context of what is going on. I thought that there was enough mystery behind it, and it is nowhere close to Monogatari, but it is like if you attempted to reach that level, but without the penmanship of Nishio without the studio of Shaft. I would say very much with an absurd story, absurd title, absurd characters is as good as you can get.
Now, despite everything we've said in terms of the wacky name, the action, and the gore, one thing I will say in summation of what this series is, it is a detective story. That's what it is.
Yes, exactly.
It's like it's got some sort of hints and elements of like the case study of Vanitas. It's got a little bit of the.
That's a good call. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
But the one thing I will say though is that like the opening sequence is so stereotypically shonen action.
It is so bad.
Like you have the main character like walking opposite of like the main crowd, the background.
Yeah, and it's like either it's black or red, and then he is like monotone.
And then you have like a spinning character who's one of the main characters, and then you have like some fighting, and then you have like the two characters staring at each other at the end, and then you start the episode.
Okay, the opening song itself is not bad, but when you take it into account with the tone of the show, I was just like, what is this?
You've seen this opening for like Naruto, for Bleach, for Chainsaw Man, for every fucking shonen action you can think of. They have done this before.
I'm not angry.
I'm not. I mean,
I'm just a little bit disappointed at the OP. That's it.
It was very jarring. It just did not fit in with what I had seen from the episode. I think they could have done a much better job with the opening. But I don't think that would do much to detract my overall enjoyment of the series because I usually skip openings anyway.
Yeah. And now, I think, though, despite all the stuff that we have said, good or bad, good and bad, I think this is a show that I would personally continue watching. And at the very least, you probably want to keep tabs on to see how it performs in terms of the general sentiment. Because at the end of the day, as absurd of a farce the story is, it's actually done pretty okay.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's like if it's going to be a detective mystery story and it ends up
how
being
many of those
good,
do we get?
Not many. Not many are done well.
Yes.
Right?
I think that right now it stands in my mind as a 7.5.
And then so therefore like the 7.64 it has right now is very adequate.
I would say 100%.
I think generally, like the people who have watched the first episode have the same sentiments as us. Maybe like a few differing. Like maybe some people thought the animation was kind of maybe some people thought that like the story, the plot beat were a bit slow. But I thought it came out quite nicely. It was executed well.
I think Lapintrack basically going solo. First foray.
Oh, this is a good show.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's a very admirable and well done effort. Because it is kind of hard when you are kind of the support role throughout your studio's existence. This is your first time on your own. It's pretty good showing in my opinion.
Yeah, hats off to Lapintrack. You guys are doing really, really well. I hope that in the future there's going to be more solo projects for you guys.
Now, Studio Madhouse has a future, but we're going to talk about a really shitty anime adaptation right now. Because, of course, not every seasonal is perfect, and this one is pretty far from it, in my opinion. The Genes of AI.
AI no Idenshi.
It is based on the completed manga series of the same name by Kyori Yamada, who did the story and the art with 8 volumes and 87 chapters. However, to my knowledge, there is no official English publication. Produced by Studio Madhouse, a studio that has stand the test of time, used to be really good, and now is kind of decent, and probably will be more decent depending on certain shows airing in the fall.
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do is basically like rather than remembering Madhouse as being like a S tier studio, I think that they're trying to basically get back on track.
It's like their redemption arc, right?
Unfortunately, there's no redeeming qualities whatsoever about the
With
Gene
an
of AI.
anime score of 6.89. I'm not even going to tell you the rank and the popularity. What's the story about, Jason?
Science fiction. Humanity is now relied on robots and cybergenetic enhancements.
There are humanoids in this world that on the surface, you can't really tell if they're human or not, or you're a mixture, and it's illegal to replicate or back up a humanoid's memory for a certain purpose, which they actually do get into quite in depth in the first episode. And our main character is this doctor who works at this clinic, but
Pseudo Hikaru.
But off hours, though,
he's literally like a black market illegal operator of enhancements and Norton AI, Norton AI virus protection.
But our Silver Strand hero has a heart of gold with a tragic backstory that involves his own mother,
who's been implicated of a crime herself, and therefore he's caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. One of the first lines that show up, not subtitles, is "This is a work of near future fiction. Any resemblance with, real locations and places is coincidence." Like that kind of like preamble warning. I'm like, okay.
First of all, this is not near future fiction. This is happening right fucking now.
Okay.
Because it's been like, we've seen many a times where people do gene hacking and they start doing like actual
splicing, but this is like robots.
Yeah. So this is just that next step. But like, I think we're really not that far from it. We're actually getting to that point now where we will start seeing these kinds of genetic enhancements.
Cyborgs, I think, is the quote unquote technical term of someone that is like part human, part machine. But okay.
Yeah, we're just, doing Ghost in the Shell all over again, aren't we?
No, because Ghost in the Shell has philosophy, action, and a hot chick behind it.
Whereas this one has none of those.
None of those. And do you know what my one-liner is for this show, Will?
Yeah, go for it. Like, in summation, like, how do you really feel about the gene of AI?
I felt more emotions coming out of watching Yuri Deco than I watched of the genes of AI.
Dude, that's really... Wow. Because I fucking hated Yuri Deco.
I didn't quite like it either, and I think there's more creativity, production, everything in Yuri Deco compared to this anime production.
Man, the way that they just basically threw up the plot and like the backstory of characters, it was just so hard.
We're talking about genes of AI, right?
Yeah. It was just so hard to stay focused and even engaged because, man, they just regurgitated line after line after line of in the year of
it is so fucking heavy-handed. Then all of a sudden,
it's so bad.
Then all of a sudden, the main character's clinic, the nurse, all of a sudden has like this cartoony kind of like moment that they kind of have like a weird like chibi like drawing of, and I'm just like, you are talking about quote unquote serious impending moral dilemmas, ethical stuff that we will face very soon in real life, and you decide to like throw in kind of like this weird Looney Tunes like Doraemon sequence. That,
like, I get why they do that. It's just to sort of break the tension, but there was no tension in this episode. It legitimately was just them just saying, "Oh, AI is here. AI is good, but it can also be bad. Hey, there's a big titty nurse here that is very, very hungry. Maybe you should feed her." No, I'm going to go outside and do some illegal shit right now.
I think if you were to take the script of it and just like read it, it won't be that bad. And I'm being very, very charitable here.
Are you saying that you should run the script of the gene of AI through ChatGPT and see if AI can do a better story about AI?
You should ask ChatGPT how they feel about the genes of AI, and maybe ChatGPT will be like, "Guys, we done fucked up. We gotta go back. We gotta go back."
Oh, man, there was really nothing redeeming about this episode.
No, but you didn't add cream in the soup. Oh my god, I'm gonna sob now.
The omelet. It was an omelet.
Oh, it was an omelet. Oh, fucking.
But by the way, adding dairy into your eggs, that's just gonna boil down and be a watery mess. But hey, look, eggs aside, I really don't see what can attract people to watching this. The opening song kind of sucked. I didn't even bother. I just skipped the ending because as soon as like they started rolling the credits, I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. I don't really want to watch more of this. This is not going to be a series I'm going to be watching more of.
So I very rarely stay till the end where they show the preview. Like after the ED, I'm usually like, all right, next show. I just wanted to see like the images that they show. It was the main character in front of a tree in a botanical garden. I wonder what the fuck that is supposed to mean. Tree of life and roots and whatnot. Like, oh
I'm
my!
I'm telling you, man, this is just Ghost in a Shell. It's just Ghost in a Shell, man.
Don't put Ghost in the Shell and this in the same fucking
Fine,
sentence.
it's Standalone Complex 2045.
Don't even put that.
Wow. You rather watch that than this, right? It's a tough ask, but you would definitely watch 2045 over this.
I think Madhouse has done
Goofed.
a lot of
They goofed this
other
one.
good stuff,
Yes,
right? I think
lots of
Sunny
good stuff.
Boy is one. They are doing Frieren, right?
Yes.
So-
you liked Sunny Boy.
I liked it a lot.
There were a couple of like points where it's just kind of a little bit loopy and it's like it kind of like strayed away from like being a regular story plot.
It's not perfect. Sunny Boy's not perfect, but I just vibed with it.
But I think it's also because of how absurd Sunny Boy the concept is. Whereas this one is just like, yeah, this is a pretty like daunting thing to think about in the future, but you really botched the execution of telling that story.
It is such a shitty show. That
I gotta say that like we don't often tell people to stay away from series. We usually just say, look, there's probably someone out there that will enjoy this, that yada yada. This I don't really see who this is for now.
this gives me at least way more, like not a lot, but more hesitation of Studio Madhouse's redemption arc. You're not going to get every single W. I get that, but this L is a really big L in my opinion.
It's a stain on their portfolio for
like
sure.
what a waste of time, money. Okay, I'm not. I don't want to like be mean.
We are being a little critical here, but we have to be because we don't want like the listeners to be like, oh, I'm sure there's something good about. No, there really isn't a whole lot that's good about this.
It's the same thing about how you feel about Yuri Deco in terms of like social media,
Yeah.
the gamification. It is so overdone. Here, it is
overdone is still fine if you can execute it well.
exactly right. Oh, you've heard the story of, well, if you're a humanoid, so are you human or not? If you're shell, Ghost in the Shell type science
If
fiction
you're
shit.
exactly if you're a robot, then what do memories really mean about like your existence? And if you have the same person but different memories, are you still the same person? That kind of shit,
yeah. In the middle of the episode, the doctor goes back into his car and a girl is sitting there.
That was the really fucked up part too. Why the fuck are you going into a stranger's car?
Okay, first of all, yes, correct, Will.
Yeah.
Second of all, your reasoning of how you got into the car is also really bad in terms of like, hold the phone, like stop the presses.
Oh, your car is really old.
You're a criminal?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
Your car's really old, so it's really easy to hack into. Okay, cool. So I'm going to hack
fuck
your
it,
car.
let's spoil the shit out of
and
it
get
like
into your
that.
car. Yeah,
And the doctor's like okay with it.
Sure. Can you take me to the grocery store? Sure. Random girl I've never met before.
Oh, so what's going to happen to my mom? Oh, you'll learn when you grow up, like the heavy burden that they're going through. I'm like,
And guess what? She doesn't need to grow up because it literally happens like in the next minute that your mom is now just somebody that you used to know. Oh God.
I think the only moment of the whole first episode, actually, okay, to be fair, there were two moments.
The eggs did look pretty good. Okay.
That's not where I'm going, but the two moms, there was the main character's mother, and then there was obviously the family that is like the whole main focus of the first episode. When that character breaks down, I thought that like
That was well done. That was okay.
It would have been impactful, and I would have felt more than what I did if it was executed well. Then the other thing,
it was more like
this could have been
patient 432 ready for genetic copying of a memory backup. However, patient decides to back out in the last minute, and then she starts crying and
No, but
crying
that
and
part
crying.
could have been
and
good.
Then 2 weeks later, she died. And then we brought you through a memory recovery. It's like, what the fuck? Like, literally all emotion and tension that you had building up to it just wiped out right fucking there.
it was wiped, and then I don't know, and then when the main character goes to visit his mother, and the mother says something, like asks a question. To me, that question in another like situation context in a much better done show would be like the most bone-chilling shit ever.
It would have been the perfect like cliffhanger for that episode to get you ready for the next one.
But then fucking right after, they just give you snippets of, oh, so this is what exactly happened. And I'm just like, okay, the cat's out of the fucking bag, guys. I guess we don't give a shit about anything then.
Man, I'm so glad that you hate this as much as I do. Because here's the thing. A lot of other stuff that's come out, it's probably going to be the same sort of sentiment. The one I do want to talk about now.
Okay. Don't watch the Genes of AI if you can't get that by now. But the saddest part is it's not just mediocre. It is bad. If it was mediocre, I could at least kind of get it. But this is just bad. Anyways, what is the next show that we want to talk about, Will? Is it Reign of the Seven Spells? Spellblades?
Well,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Reign of the Seven Spellblades is based on the ongoing light novel series of the same name by Bokuto Uno, who did the story, and Rurouni Miyuki, who did the art, published in English by Yen Press. English manga adaptation, also published by Yen Press, produced by JC Staff. 6.96 is
slightly higher than Gene of AI.
However, wait, what is 1996 OG anime? Oh, did I fuck up? I fucked up.
Oh, no. Anyways, doesn't matter what the stats are, what the background is.
Okay.
The Reign of the Seven Spellblades kind of reminded me of the opening of the Misfit of Demon King Academy, in that it's just the gathering of all these young whippersnappers ready to go into magic school.
Wait. There's a guy who reads a book, so he's the nerd. There is the Gyaru because she's tanned and blonde hair. Okay, there's the samurai girl. There is...
No, not just a samurai. It's a foreign-looking girl.
Who doesn't know jack shit about the ways of, like, this country, I guess.
Yeah. Westernization never reached her part of the world.
Which is okay, but still, like, they overdo it. Of course, your main character is, like, this strategic guy with this weird hidden talent.
You know what it is, right? It's a Japanese property, and they have like white people just basically saying, you're too Japanese, and then it turns out this Japanese person is also super powerful and saves the day. But how they go about saving the day, it was... Man, I've seen more intriguing episodes of Pokemon than this one.
Oh, but they all go to this Kimberly Magic Academy where throughout your studies, 20% of your incoming class... is it 20% will die? Something like that, right? Not the inverse. I think 20% would fail out or die due to learning the arts of magic. And we're all like in Hogwarts. Congrats.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this most mediocre boilerplate carbon copy show?
It is so like... We say that sometimes generic is not a bad thing, but this is legitimately like store brand generic, like the stuff that nobody ever picks up.
This is like, oh, you go to Whole Foods? That's overpriced. But you know what? I'm one step above you. I'm better. I go to Kroger's for my shit because it's just the same thing. Just like how you go to Whole Foods, I think you're overpaying. So I want to be affordable because it's just the same shit. Eggs are the same, right? So I'll just go to fucking Kroger's.
You got your eggs for $2 a pop. I got mine for 45 cents a pop. Well, this is less than 45 cents because, oh my God, the voice acting was trash. The animation was trash. The way that they basically engage in their first fights was also just poorly executed. And when their powers...
The end of the first episode was also completely unnecessary.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why do you need to take a bath in the fountain?
Okay, we're spoiling the shit out of this one. If you don't want to listen to it, hey, hats off to you.
But I think from the beginning of this particular segment, you already knew that we were not going to be endorsing this one.
Maybe we'll put a timestamp just in case, or I don't know. Fuck it. Okay, here's the other thing, Will. Why is it 7 when there's 6 of them?
Because there's going to be a 7th one that shows up, right?
Or is it like that mystery girl that is like protecting the main character?
Yeah.
I don't fucking... The point is like... It is like, oh, let's put all this stuff from all these different series or properties or IPs and put them in a pot and mix it because those things are good. Generic as it is, like Harry Potter is really good. I agree. Okay. An eclectic like group of misfits or each having their own domain.
This is literally a shit version of Misfit Demon King Academy.
Oh my god.
And I didn't really like Misfit Demon King Academy either. But
because that one is dumb. Yeah. This one is just bad.
Yeah. It's trying to be smart. Oh, our powers combined are not good. No, listen to me. If you listen to me, it'll be good. Oh, okay, we will listen to you.
The mistress, the principal of the academy, like, shows up, makes a speech, and then it's like, okay, cool. Okay, you're like a hot MILF. Okay, fine. I've seen like that character trope endless times. And then obviously the foreign samurai girl raises her hand and it's like, oh, if you are sick or whatever, just do what I do. And like, I forgot what she said. Something like count backwards from 10 or like hold your nose or something. Because I can't. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then
it's not good.
And then the orientation is like each main character basically like pointing at a fucking map. Like I fucking give a shit. Because like as a viewer, you don't see the actual map. You just see like a general look. Oh my god.
I think we move on to the next one, which unfortunately is going to be another really garbage show.
No. Okay, I'm taking the reins. Okay, for the next one.
Oh, you're taking the reins away from the reins of Seven Spellblades?
Exactly.
Okay, smart.
Because right now I'm so depressed, Will.
You want to cheer up a bit now?
Yeah, I mean, we have so much work we have to do. We have like all these things that I have to worry about, and then like once I go home, I have to do all these chores. I have to clean. I have to like
pet your cat.
Pet my cat.
But what if your cat's a fucking human size like alpha male?
Which then is the other Gohan's production. The Masterful Cat is depressed again today, based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Hitsuji Yamada, who did the story and the art, published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment, as I said, published by Gohan's.
Produced by Gohan's.
Produced by Gohan's. When I say published? Okay.
Yeah.
Produced by Gohan's. Anime has a raw mouse score of 7.18, and it went from like a 6.5 when it first premiered to 7.18 this morning. The manga source has a score of 7.51. And I'll be honest, I kind of dig this show.
It's okay. I actually kind of am okay with it. It's not impressive, but it's almost like a workplace slice of life kind of series.
There was a show I think called like The Adorable Senku Fox. You know that lolly?
Oh yeah.
It was like it's like a lolly girl. That's
now that you said lollies, it's starting to
She's like she wears like red, I think, red and white, and then she has like her fox friends show up because she's like a Ninetales descendant or whatever. This is essentially that, but I like this way more because the cat, who is fucking ginormous, like 6 foot something.
He's like Totoro.
Is kind of legit.
He's a big chungus.
It's a legit, and he doesn't really talk. He has like internal monologue. But our main female character is Saku, who took in the cat when he was a little
baby stray,
literally
stray
like a taco burrito size, and then all of a sudden somehow grew into this like 6'2" cat. And he cleans, does all the dishes, washing, and most importantly, all the food and cooking.
Prepares her lunch every day and gets really upset when she comes home late from work or even skips dinner.
Yeah. We're going on a diet, guys. Since I'm folding clothes, I'm going to watch the afternoon show on like, their NTV, Nippon TV, right?
Yeah. So what does this really mean? Like, you were talking about a cat, an anthropomorphic cat that can walk and cook, and a woman who essentially just eats and sleeps all the time. Well, the main point of this story is that Saku literally does not have a whole lot of control over her life. She's overworked. She's never like on a consistent diet.
She's a bit of a ditz, klutz.
And the main thing as well is because of the fact that she is of that age, she always gets the question, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get your first boyfriend?
Are you going to be a good housewife,
But she doesn't want to care about that shit. She just wants to get her job done and also eat karage and dumplings, right? She just loves eating and just not working.
And I think at the end of the day, Saku is just a good person, a nice person, such that she took in a stray cat during a snowstorm, and it turns out that the stray cat turns out basically being your maid / butler of sorts. And so then when they start cooking and keeping your shit clean, people are like, oh, wow, you made that yourself? Because she has to say she made it herself. Because it's homemade.
But also, who the fuck's going to believe that she has a 6'2" cat at home cooking dinner for her?
And here's the other thing. Based on the preview and the very end of the first episode, it's not like the cat at the apartment is a secret. And not everyone is freaking out about it, which is kind of funny to me.
Yeah. I think of all the series, this one is the one I feel is the most surprising because honestly, I didn't feel like there was going to be a whole lot I would like about this. Not that I would hate it, but I'm actually low-key vibing with it.
The first 5 minutes, I was already on board. Of course, you could say then, was the ride really great? Not really, but it was just nice. And I was sold from minute 3. I also like the camera angles and stuff, like when Saku walks to work. I thought the whole blending of 2D and 3D was not as bad as the girl I like forgot her glasses. Such that I was like, okay, this is way better implementation. I see where you're going. And if you keep going in this route, Gohans, I think I'm going to do a 180 in terms of how I feel about you as an animation studio, which I kind of do already.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple here that I kind of want to just blast through because they're really not good at all. For example, Ayaka, A Story of Bonds and Wounds, is a Studio Blanc anime original. Currently 6.59. Fucking boring.
Anime original, what the fuck is this modern Naruto type bullshit?
Yep. Next one, Sweet Reincarnation, based on an ongoing light novel of the same name by Nozomu Koryu. The story, Yasuyuki Shuri, who did the art, started off as a web novel, and there's a manga adaptation that is published in English by J Novel Club, produced by Synergy SP. It's also very, very boring. I thought it would be really cool to watch a food-based, a gourmet reincarnation.
I'll be very honest. I thought that was the whole point of this show. The fact that it's called fucking Sweet Reincarnation.
And you see the kid making pastries in the fucking poster for the anime, but
the first couple of minutes is literally him as I can never pronounce it. A pastry chef. What do you call? What's the French term?
A pâtissier.
Yeah. He unceremoniously gets injured.
He
dies during a competition. So I was just like, oh yeah, he's going to transfer. Okay, he started out as a kid again. Okay, it makes sense, right? It's 2 episodes. They released episode 1 and 2 together, and I think because it was screened in advance in an Anime Expo. I watched both episodes, bro. There was 0 baking. What the fuck? You are almost at the 3 episode rule, and there's 0 cooking.
It's a 12 episode, a 1 cur, right? So almost a quarter of your anime so far has no food whatsoever, other than eating an apple.
Okay, yeah.
Well let down.
That technically is a food.
Well let down.
What the fuck?
Right.
Okay, the episode 3 apparently is called Apple Tart and Sweetness. Fucking finally. But I'm not gonna watch it, cause my god. Okay.
How about The Great Cleric?
I feel really bad about this because not only was it for my seasonal pick, but I have a soft spot for support classes and healers, whether it is in video games, MMOs. I really like playing support classes and healers. So I thought going in The Great Cleric, which is an isekai story about a guy who pieces out in the real world, then gets a second chance transported and decides to become a cleric, where in this world, fantasy world, isekai world, healers have such an advantage that you can get corrupted and charge an exuberant amount for healing people or scamming people. So healers have this high status off the bat that you can easily take advantage of, but our main character doesn't do that, or he wants to, change the perception. And I'm just like, all of this sounds great, but your anime also has to be good, guys.
And it's not, right?
It's only one episode in, and he just learned how to heal.
It's a 6.46 right now.
I know. And the very end of the first episode, he's like, let me heal you. And then that's it. And I'm just like, all right.
Right. Keep going with your spiel, because I'm going to go to the bathroom. You can talk about My Tiny Senpai if you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, I'll talk about My Tiny Senpai. And I'm not talking about Doga Kobo's My Senpai's Annoying. My Tiny Senpai is based on the manga of the same name by Saiso, who did the story and the art. Currently, there is no English official release, produced by Project Number 9. Anime has a raw score of 6.68, and the manga source has a raw score of 7.27. So, My Tiny Senpai is very much in the same vein as My Senpai's Annoying, in the sense of your senpai, in this case, it works at an office, and you, being the main male character, really likes this short but rather spunky senpai who is very conscious about her small stature, and it is about their office shenanigans. And My Tiny Senpai is very cute, the main female character being the Tiny Senpai, except I think that there is a moment where in the first episode, the main senpai and the main male character kind of like woos a cat, like a stray cat, and it's done in a very cutesy way, but I thought, to me, it was way more pandering and way, way in your face, such that, Will, have you heard of an oppai lolly?
I mean, that's generally what Project Number 9 does, right?
Yep, and My Tiny Senpai is, well, what if your oppai lolly is your office senpai? And you kind of have a crush on her. And she acts so cutesy, it's kind of annoying.
Are we ever going to get like a normal adaptation of something from Project Number 9? Or do you think that's just their thing?
How many animes have they done?
Well, they did Higehiro. They also did... What was that other one they did that was also like an office-based one?
Are they on their 9th piece of work? I don't fucking know. I think they did do Higehiro, though.
Yeah, they did that one. What else did they do? Oh, my God.
I always put them in the same category as Project Mother.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Angel Next Door, Smells You Rotten. My stepmom's daughter is my ex.
Yeah. Okay. So
Love After World Domination.
Of all of those, I think the Angel Spoils Me Rotten is the only one that is probably highly scored, right? Highly ranked. Everything else is low mid 6s or low 7s, and I have to be honest.
Well, Love After World Domination was okay.
I liked that, but I didn't love it. And the manga also is just it's all right. But My Tiny Senpai is really just not great. It's just, if you want something along those lines, watch My Senpai is Annoying, or any of these mismatched, office romance-ish stuff. I don't think there is anything that My Tiny Senpai offers that you can't find anywhere else, and also done. It will always be done better, in my opinion.
Did you watch Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout, the animation?
Yes, I did.
Right. Based on a JRPG of the same name, which is done by Koei Tecmo. The anime was produced by Leiden Films. The first episode was a double episode, so 46 minutes in length. Currently sitting at a 7.03 for the raw mouse score.
So one thing that I want to focus on is that The Atelier series is a long-running JRPG, and Atelier Ryza is the 21st in the series. I also, funny enough, did research, and I read the video game reviews, and they praised its alchemy and crafting mechanism of the JRPG. And to my knowledge, reading some of the comments on my anime list, the anime is essentially the retelling of the game. Okay. They focus a hell of a lot on crafting and alchemy because our main female character is super into alchemy and wants to make shit, because during that whole 46 minutes, she realizes that these foreigners that come in for like some, trading kind of talk are really good at alchemy, and alchemy is cool because they saved her. So that's what she does. It's okay. It's extremely fluffy in terms of laid backness, slice of life in this world where a lot of bad shit technically happens.
But it's straight up a 7 out of 10.
So 7 out of 10.
Not mid, but like 7. Because at least
it's middle of the road,
yeah.
I would say. It is fine. I just like how Nier Automata, the anime adaptation, I didn't finish it past like the first, second episode, and then it got delayed. But I just did not understand why you would have the anime adaptation when the video game is available and you're just basing the story off of the video game that I know of.
You probably just want people... It's probably just people who... Anime adaptations of video games are for people, I feel, that like just watching cutscenes.
Don't get scammed and double dip. If you want... I'm not saying that Atelier Ryza is a bad anime or a bad game, but you're probably just better off playing the game. That's it.
Yeah. I think just quick mention of Rurouni Kenshin, the 2003 adaptation of it.
Yeah. 2023 Rurouni Kenshin.
Meiji Kenkaku Romantan. Which is based on the completed manga series by Nobuhiro Watsuki, who did both the story and the art. All 28 volumes are published in English by Viz Media. It's a remake of the original adaptation from winter 1996. Some of you were not born then. At that time, it was a co-production between Studio Dean and Studio Gallop. This current iteration is produced by Leiden Films. Now, the original manga... the source sits at an 8.56. This current new adaptation is sitting at a 7.96, which is actually very good. I'd say that like it may go over an 8, but here's my thing. I didn't really watch Rurouni Kenshin growing up. In fact, even if I did watch a couple episodes. I mean, the character is like memorable as fuck for sure, but it's I can't really ever like sort of watch this current iteration and think like have flashbacks of what it used to be like watching it back in '96. You probably do. So, what are your thoughts and feelings about?
So I'm gonna come clean with something. Kenshin is the name of the samurai. To be fair to me, Kenshin in the original anime was voiced by a woman, just like how Goku. Is Goku voiced by a woman, right?
I don't remember.
I know Pikachu is.
Yes.
But,
I mean, Ash Ketchum, in the English dub is voiced by a woman.
So, I thought for fucking forever that Rurouni Kenshin was essentially a female samurai, like Joan of Arc style. I found out way later than I should have that I was completely mistaken and it was a dude. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, I really don't like this reiteration of this character because he just sounds normal. Maybe this is super biased in terms of my personal take and maybe has no effect on you whatsoever. I also thought the whole point of the samurai is supposed to be like him trying to... It's like that era of Trigun where it's like this weird kind of quirky dude hero... Or Cowboy Bebop with Spike is like they actually have a tragic backstory. They're trying to, redeem their ways and be good again because they have fucked up in the past. This time around, though, the animation is fucking terrible because
Well, it's Leiden films. They're not necessarily known to have the cleanest animation quality.
Is it ugly? No. But okay, I'm just gonna swing my sword and have like this lightsaber kind of delayed motion to signify how I just toppled 3 people.
That shit would have worked in the 90s because of like the lack of advancement in animation at that point.
Except the old anime did it way better because they actually showed choreography at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Do you think it's just a rushed job? Or do you think maybe this is the extent of what Leiden films can do?
I don't know why this anime exists. I also don't know why as a 7.96. Is it because of nostalgia? It has to be.
It must be.
Even if you factor in the inflation score, I think it's like...
Well, I think it's also like, why is there a new Trigun, right? I think it's just basically people wanting to bring back new fans for old properties, and I get the angle. I mean, Disney does this all the time with their
Trigun
movies.
Stampede, I would argue, is like unique in terms of a new take, a hot take.
Yeah. I mean, it still follows the main story, but like certain characters are different. Of course, it's 3D as opposed to being standard 2D.
And stylistically, even if you discount the 3D, is done in a way that is very much different than the original Trigun.
And it looks sick. It looks really good. Despite what we say about the plot, it looks really, really sick.
I would say, obviously, it's like B tier to Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate, which Will and I adore. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely love
this
Hellsing.
Is like...
So here's the thing, right? Like...
what's your take on it? Yeah.
All the old heads that loved Rurouni Kenshin are probably not
like 40-year-old me, Will?
Yes, exactly, like 40-year-old you.
Yeah, I'm not
all those
40,
people
though.
are probably just going to be like, I love the original Rurouni Kenshin, I'm going to stick with it. So it's not likely that you're going to be bringing back old fans for the new iteration. Rather, this is probably something that is trying to entice a new generation of fans to enjoy Rurouni Kenshin. Now, at a 7.96, generally it seems it's pretty well accepted, but from your perspective, is it going to be a hard sell for new people coming in? Do you think that the historical appeal that Rurouni Kenshin has had over the last 25 years or so is enough to be like, I've never watched it before, I guess I'll go with the new one? Or would you rather say, hey, you're better off actually just watching the original back in 1996?
I mean, I'll never recommend that just because the disparity and my nostalgia is so significant that it's just not going to hit the same. So if you, in the world, have to watch Rurouni Kenshin, there is no doubt I would recommend the 2023 remake. But why waste your time about a story that you have heard time and time and again, that the OG anime and manga is like, that's...
Then just watch the original then, right? Just watch the 1996 version.
I mean, I think it would be pretty hard. And I'm not talking
just
like...
it's just been so long.
Yeah, I'm not talking even like getting your hands on it. I mean like just watching it, and they have like these old sound effects, and it just doesn't sound, look, and feel... modern, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, like, if you were to rewatch Cowboy Bebop, definitely there were a couple things that might sound dated, but you would still...
You're right.
You
Even
know?
with, like, Ghost in the Shell, the original, I would still say Ghost in the Shell original still holds up. Even when we watched it in 4K.
Yeah.
Okay, I take that back. But
you would... I mean, like, if you legitimately, like, were to suggest to someone to either watch 1996 or 2023 Rurouni Kenshin, you would probably say go with the original 1996.
begrudgingly, yeah.
Yeah.
But you do make good points.
Yeah.
But this is not a 2010 remake of Fruits Basket. This is not that level.
I'll say it here. In the next 3 years, we're gonna a reshoot of Yu Yu Hakusho.
I mean, at this point, they did Shaman King as well a while back.
Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah, so this is just like, as you said, the Disney thing of the next cycle, right? What can we revive back from the dead that is nostalgic?
I would absolutely hate it though if they tried to bring back Cowboy Bebop or fucking Samurai Champloo.
No, man, they're just gonna bring back Hunter x Hunter.
They're never going to. It's never gonna come back, man. I mean, the manga slowly is, but it's on hold again. So
Yeah. So, what is your take on Rurouni Kenshin 2023?
I thought it was okay. I can see there being a space of people that like would actually enjoy it, but there's also a space of people where like just go and watch the original, man. It's the same thing with like deciding between Trigun and Trigun Stampede. Beautiful visuals on one side, but then the story's like more well told in the original.
For Rurouni Kenshin, 100% so far. Even if I just look at the first episode, I don't know. I just don't think it's a good remake. I think at the end of the day, that's my problem. It is not a good remake. Because you take the same stuff, but modernize it, does not mean it will be palatable. So I think it's a pass for me.
Fair enough. Now, one of the last ones that we'll be talking about at length is the most heretical last boss queen, from Villainess to Savior, or Last Tame in terms of the short form. It's based on an ongoing light novel of the series of the same name by Tenichi and Soruzu no Suke. Published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment. There is an English adaptation for the manga published by Seven Seas Entertainment. However, the series has been discontinued due to the mangaka's poor health back in October 2022.
The light novel is still ongoing, though. So, and they did announce that they might do another artist for the manga adaptation. It is produced by, I think, Silverlink. I forgot it.
I can check it out.
Yeah, sorry. I don't want to misquote here. The Mal anime score is 7.14.
OLM Team Yoshioka.
My bad. OLM. And the manga adaptation has a 7.47. The story is essentially, hey, what if you got reincarnated in a kind of those dating sim games, which you have heard time and time and again.
But you are legitimately the big bad.
Yes, and you know it. And you played this dating game to death, so you know everything. So what if you changed everything?
Before you go into your take, I kind of liked it. I thought it was okay. I thought that it was, I mean, like, we've seen a couple of these, what happens if you have an effect on a game that you've played before.
What
and
was
you
the
want to
other
change
one yesterday, like last season, like Kobayashi, Lise... You know what I'm talking about? The tsundere one?
Yes.
Where it's like...
Tsundere Princess.
Tsundere Princess, where they actually play the game and have commentary with a prince inside the game. There is also Mob... what's it called? Dating Mob Isekai.
Lisa Lotte.
Yeah, Lisa Lotte is the one that was original.
Yeah,
like
Endo and Kobayashi Live. The latest on Tsundere Villainess, Lisa Lotte. That's the one.
Yep.
That one came out, winter 2023.
And then there's another Yuri show that's coming up called I'm in Love with the Villainess that I really like a lot, the manga, and it's doing really well on the light novel front. So this Villainous thing, obviously with, was it the Red Flag Villainous? The Isekai subgenre has a subgenre of Villainous, and it's like a big thing. And I like almost a lot of them. I do like the manga a shit ton. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
But the anime, because you mentioned before we started recording that there was an air of disappointment after watching it, at least the first episode.
So what do you think of the first episode?
I thought it was well done. I thought that, it's not, of course, as you mentioned, a wholly original concept, because we've already seen a fair amount of these exist in the past couple of seasons. But I liked how they had developed the character.
So you thought it was a good showing, and I'm not like I
would give it by good. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So usually in a curve of anime, how much of a manga gets adapted? Like a general rule, will obviously it depends on like shonen or whatever. I understand that, but like
over the course of like 12 episodes, they might be able to do like 2, maybe 3 volumes.
So, the first episode covered 45% of volume 1 of the manga. Okay. So that's the first thing. It was horrendously paced. I may not look like that as someone who does not know the source, but I unfortunately do, and it's so unfortunate because there's so much context that happens in between that first episode that should have been like 3 episodes.
Yeah, it did seem like a whole lot of shit happened, actually.
Because, like, she gets flashbacks of the
All
shit that
yeah.
she would have done in the game as the villains, and
But I feel like in the manga, or at least in the novel, they would have like fleshed that out like a lot.
Way
because
more, dude.
those flashbacks are fucking horrifying.
also that's the other thing. In the manga, I can't speak for the light novel because I didn't read it, but in the manga, she was a fucking atrocious, like, she was a really good villain, basically. She was a horrible human being that treats everyone around her as scum, but no one else can do jack shit because she is literally the last boss.
Whereas in the anime, it just comes more of she's just a brat who does really terrible things.
You hate her in terms of, like, her other, alter ego persona of the Villainess. And then she has to rectify and try to subvert all that. But you don't really feel that in the first episode.
Yeah.
At least not the way in terms of the severity. And I'll give you a very good example. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll hint at it such that you would know what I'm talking about. There is a brother that shows up in episode 1, right? There is something that Pride, which is a name of the main female character, the Villainess character, she tells him to do something. And there's nothing that he can do about it other than to do it. And is the most gut-wrenching thing that gets portrayed in the manga. And it just makes you, like, seething with hate. Which then also makes her actions of trying to prevent that, because that's what she would have done in another, like, alter ego life thing. And the effects of that, of doing the right thing in many ways, or doing nothing, has on that character in question, and her redemption, and how other people perceive her. All of that is basically, like, glossed over.
So you think it's a case of just poor script writing, a rush job?
Horrendous. Okay, it doesn't look that bad.
I thought she looked good.
I thought it looked okay. Pretty good, to be honest.
And to be fair, like, for someone that's never read the novel or the manga, I quite liked it, but because of the fact that you already know the source. And again, it's like you know the source, you read blah, blah, blah. It's like,
and I feel bad saying that, right? Because I really don't like using that as a crutch. But
you have to in this case.
Yeah, if you enjoy it, like, as you do, Will.
I'm definitely, like, okay with it. I mean, 7 out of 10 is not a bad thing at all.
I can tell you that the rest of the story is pretty much, like, better than what you have already seen, just because the story unfolds, it opens up, you see more characters, blah, blah, blah.
Do you think that also because this was just, like, the first episode, and despite it adapting almost half of the first volume, that going forward they might slow down the pace?
There is a chance, especially at the end of the first episode. It's a very important part because it introduces an extremely important character.
Yeah.
That is going to play a major part in the whole anime and series. So maybe, and I hope that's the case, because 80 pages of manga in 20 minutes is intense, dude. Like, how the fuck did you fucking do that shit?
Yeah. Well, look, I think that you could definitely check it out. It's not a strong recommendation.
Yes, it is not a strong recommendation. I, however, will still recommend it because it's still pretty okay.
Yeah. Now, the next few we're going to just gloss over because I'm not sure if you watched.
I didn't watch any of the other ones that you're going to mention.
Even Vending Machine?
Yeah, I did not watch that.
Okay. Am I actually the strongest? Boring as shit. The Dreaming Boy is a realist. Boring as shit. Yohane, the parlay.
Okay, that's a Love Live thing. I watched 2 episodes of that. I did not understand why everyone likes it.
Yeah. Sunshine in the Mirror was weird as shit. Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero. Boring as shit.
We won't timestamp any of this, by the way.
Yeah.
Although, let's talk about Reborn as an English, because I did read the manga.
I actually quite like it, despite how atrocious the manga, the mouse score is right now for the anime adaptation.
I mean, I was confident about it to put it on my seasonal pick because I thought it was. I like the manga.
I thought it was just very heartwarming. I just liked it. I get that it's a very, like, weird concept for an isekai.
And what is the concept? Just I mean, if you read the title, you will know. But
guy is riding on a motorbike and gets killed by a vending machine. So it's, par for the course. He gets reborn as a vending machine.
So I don't know about the light novel that it's supposed to be based on because that's the original source. The manga actually does it differently. The manga is the guy is a vending machine enthusiast, then finds a vending machine, then the vending machine gets knocked over and he gets crushed.
Yeah, he gets crushed, but whilst he's like riding on a motorbike along a highway.
So I was really confused. I was like, okay, maybe that's the light novel version, right? But if you exclude all that, Will, because I didn't watch the rest of the episode, I think it's pretty cute.
I actually like it. I think despite its low score, if you guys need something that is just chill and brainless, this is not a bad pick.
It's a fun take, in my opinion, as well. Because if I were to tell you, dude, guy gets reborn as a fucking vending machine, you'd be like, shut the fuck up, Jason. Like, stop it. This is not even a joke. That's just a bad joke. No, but it's real. And I thought, for example, the way that the main character communicates, I thought was pretty funny. Did they introduce the female character?
Yes, they did. Because she comes in, I think 5 minutes in.
Okay, that's good.
She's incredibly strong.
Yes. Did they name the vending machine yet?
I don't remember. I kind of glossed over it because it was legit. It was one of those play in the background kind of series.
It is, but it's also pretty nice, in my opinion. They also, spoiler, they call them boxy, I think.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check again when I watch episode 2. So yeah, I think those are the ones that we want to go at length for.
I will continue watching Reborn as a vending machine.
Same.
I think it is not necessarily a travesty.
You just need something dumb to watch.
Yeah, and the low mouse score is not a travesty, but I feel like it's a bit unjustified.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's at least a 7.
I would have never thought that I would say JJK score is too high or Horimiya score is too high, but
vending machine's
too low. But
what
here we are.
What a world we live in.
Here
right
we
now.
are. All right, let's talk about forecasts.
Yeah. So some of the sequels that are coming out, for example, Bungo Stray Dogs 5. It's going to be coming out on July 12th. Should be just one day after this recording releases. I'm optimistic for it because Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4 was fucking good.
Oh, you like Season 1, 2, 3, and 4?
You
Oh,
like
they're
5
all
then,
like
yeah.
8 pluses?
You like 5?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Devil's a Part-Timer second season, the sequel. That one is going to be interesting because it did not get a good... It's okay. What's really fucking annoying as well...
Well, yeah, I know what you're going to say. Say it.
It's called second season... Season 2 sequel.
Yeah.
Why not just fucking call it Season 2 Part 2? Like, or just call it Season 3.
No,
or whatever.
And you think we're joking. The sequel is... The word... sequel
it's
is
parentheses,
there.
yeah.
It's in parentheses.
It's so fucking stupid. Jobless Reincarnation Season 2. There is an episode 0 for it, which does give a little backstory for certain characters and whatnot. It's not an absolute must-watch.
Oh, so I was going to ask about
But
that.
there are maybe some characters that when they show up in Season 2, they'll be like, oh, who the hell is that? You might as well watch it. It's only 25 minutes. Right?
So it is essentially
It's a prologue.
So
Yeah.
but it's good.
It's fine.
Like if I were to put it at episode 1 instead of episode 0 and air it consecutively per week,
It wouldn't be out of place.
It wouldn't be out of place. Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Duke of Death and His Maid. I didn't watch Season 1, but it did get pretty good scores.
So I watched the first couple episodes of Season 1. The 3D is very jarring to me, but I think based off of how the score jumps up significantly over the course of it airing, especially it was a low 7s, and now it's high 7s to low 8s. Season 1, I forgot what it was, but hey, the maid is kind of cool, kind of hot, I guess. There's more characters now. There it is.
On to Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, The Separation, which should be releasing as of recording today. So it would have already come out. No, people were super hyped and also absolutely fucking loved the first part.
That's what I'm betting on for my seasonal bet.
Yeah. Who knows?
This is season 2 technically of the 1,000-Year Blood War. So
yeah.
yeah.
But I think because of the fact that like the 1,000-Year Blood War is legitimately the final arc, that's why they're not going with season 1, season 2. They're just going by like
The name of
names
the arc
of specific arcs. Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is not a bad way to do it, although it would be hard, just like how Demon Slayer, you wouldn't know if it's season 2 or 3. But hey, fucking just
go with it.
Just go with it.
Yep.
Should be a high 8, right?
I definitely
mid
high
to
8.
mid to high
Definitely
8.
high 8. I think that was a safe pick for your bet. This one is not a sequel. My unique skill makes me OP even at level 1. I don't know much about it, honestly, other than it must be an isekai.
It's an isekai, I guess. The unique skill, well, I'm only level 1 though.
But
Makes
okay.
me overpowered. Okay,
Cool.
end of story.
Now the other ones that we will go over. Liar Liar. It's based on an ongoing light novel, the same name. Produced by Geek Toys. The mouse score for the manga for the light novel is a 7.06. Does not sound very promising.
So we watched the trailer for this, and it is so generic trailer that doesn't even tell you anything. I think this is a very dumpster fire, like mid 6.
It kind of sounds like Tomodachi game.
Yeah, because
It's same shit.
I think it's kind of like
It's same shit but different studio. That's basically it.
I just don't know.
Moving on, Tempuru. No One Can Live on Loneliness. Would have just released as well. It's going to be produced by Studio Gecko. Again, don't really know much about it, but the mouse score for the original source, which is an ongoing manga, is a 7.55. Basically, a kid gets told by his father that no one can live alone. But I guess that's what he does because he ends up becoming a Buddhist monk. Is he going to find romance? Is he going to find something going on? Well, this temple is full of women.
Yeah. Shenanigans ensue. Ecchi show as fuck, I guess. Oh my god, it looks terrible too.
Yep. Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Now, this one looks very exciting.
Okay, so now
Yeah.
we are in terms of my opinion, at least, and I'm sure will because we're getting to there. The 4 shows that there's no way for us to watch as of recording, but probably is going to be hype.
Yep. So, Bug Films is doing Zom 100, which I think is a new studio. I don't think there was a whole lot of Bug Films stuff.
Yeah, there isn't.
Yep. So basically focuses on a young man named Akira Tendo who watches a lot of zombie movies. And then all of a sudden, after spending 3 years of living in a very, very tiring existence in Japan, he is just broken. He just does not want to do anything anymore. He can't even muster courage to, say his love for a beautiful coworker of his, Otori. And then one day he comes across his landlord, who actually becomes a zombie.
So I think there's something that, and obviously then the story progresses. One of the things that I like about Zom 100 is, first of all, it is on Jump. Oh no, sorry, Viz Media. I guess it may not be on Jump.
Yeah. It's Viz Media, yeah.
Sorry, it's on Sunday Gene X, which is essentially not Shonen Jump, but Viz Media Sueisha. The MAL score is 7.57. Popularity 499. So very popular. It is an ongoing series. It is written by Haruaso. Haruaso. Art is done by I can't read it.
Takata Kotaro.
Thank you. Okay. You know the premise, Will, of I've been prepared for this my whole life.
That's basically what it is.
This is essentially that, but for zombie apocalypse.
And I think it could be good.
It looks good. I'm being very honest. Granted, we only saw the trailer, but I think this could be a very much an 8 show. 8.0 plus show.
Yep. Now, Dark Gathering, based on the manga of the same name, published in English, and actually, slated to be a double cur. 25 episodes, produced by OLM. Original manga source, 7.57 for the raw score. It's focusing on the college freshman, Kitaro Gentoga, who hates ghosts, but for some reason is very attractive to spirits and ghosts and all that. He gets a light little injury on his right hand, and his friend gets caught in the crossfire. He becomes a shut-in. He's got very, very poor social skills, but he does have a friend who sort of gets him back out and remingles with society. As part of his rehabilitation, he takes on a part-time job as a private tutor, and his first student is none other than his close childhood friend's cousin, Yaoi Hozuki. They're known as a child prodigy, but there's also something else about this Yaoi Hozuki. They have a spiritual constitution. However, unlike Kitaro, who hates ghosts, Yaoi loves ghosts, loves encountering them, and always tries to look after it, especially, when it comes to finding a ghost that took away her mother. Now, Kitaro gets dragged along all these shenanigans, and his part-time job, being a tutor, starts straying further and further away from its original purpose.
Because it got cut off, the manga series, it is written and illustrated by Kenichi Kondo, just so that we give credit where credit's due. One of the things that I like and hyped about Dark Gathering is two things. The first thing is that right off the bat, being a double curse show is ballsy in general, right? Of course, there are double curse shows that are kind of not worth a damn, that just somehow gets a double cur. I totally get it. Here's the other thing, Will. The tags is horror and supernatural, with horror being number one. The first thing. So I think, being horror enthusiasts, this is a show that is literally going to be a dark horse, going to creep up out of nowhere, potentially.
But it could also crash and burn, because we've
seen
that
how many
times
horror, have we seen that, right? But I feel
it's almost like we've done a whole damn episode about it.
Episode 8, Witching Hour, I remember that. The thing is that I think Dark Gathering, I've just heard a lot of things about it, not necessarily what's it about. I actually didn't even know about the premise until I read the plot synopsis and watched the trailer. But it looks nice. I'm hyped.
Yep.
And of course, we'll report in. We're probably going to watch all these shows anyways.
Yep. Just like we're going to be watching Helk, which should be releasing the day after this recording releases. It's based on a completed manga series of the same name by Nanao, with 12 volumes, 111 chapters. It is published in English by Viz Media. The anime adaptation is going to be produced by Studio Satellite. Now, the thing that we're most excited about this is that the original manga score is an 8.2 flat, like 8.20, which is very, very high.
Very, very high. Ranked 410. Also, the manga is not completed recently. It was published from 2014 to 2017.
So it took a whole 6 years for this thing to come out on the green screen.
So one thing that I think is hype about Helk is the pedigree. Also, we have friends who have actually read Helk and are super hype about it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just find out more about what the hell the show is all about.
Let's just hope it's not a biscuit hammer situation.
Yeah. Oh, man. That one was awful.
But the manga, though, people have been saying hype stuff about.
Now, this one that you seem to be pretty hyped about as well, Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, which will be airing on July 13th, based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Hazano Kazutake, who did both the story and the art. It's published in English by Kodansha, and the anime adaptation is going to be produced by none other than Doga Kobo, fresh off of working on Oshinoko.
Oh, there you go. So instead of focusing on the grimes of the entertainment industry, what if you just want to chill, bro? What if that your only thing is you have to babysit this girl that is just kind of running around off the walls? Very fluffy, very chill. And I anticipate that Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence is exactly that. It's great. It's going to be great. Light shenanigans. It's you're going to this is going to be a fluffy show. You're just going to watch it. You're just going to be nice. You're going to what is the rejuvenating subgenre?
Isekai?
Yep. This is literally that.
Nice. Okay. that pretty much covers everything that we want to talk about for the summer 2023 seasonals. There may be a few that we kind of glossed over or not even mentioned, but if we don't mention them, then it's probably not really worth watching. But again, you can always let your curiosity take over and see if those particular shows are worth your time. But the ones that we have mentioned, either absolutely get on them, maybe have them playing in the background, or stay the fuck away from these series. Just make sure that if you're going to be trying to put together a nice roster of anime to watch this season, you gotta throw in Vending Machine. I think it's criminal how low its score is. I understand why it's so low, but come on, guys, like it's at least a 7.
My personal opinion of summer 2023 anime seasonals is one that is kind of, as Will mentioned, the same as 2022, right?
You'll have some bangers, but for the most part, you're really trying to, scrape to the bottom of the barrel to try and find something that's decent to watch.
And sometimes you will find diamonds in the rough, and sometimes it's shows with slow burns. So who knows? My opinion is it's not the best and the brightest that anime has to offer every year. It's always around this time of year that it's a weird mishmash of stuff, and this summer seasonal is no different than other summer seasonals. So, yeah, I really think it's not a bad anime season.
It's not doom and gloom for sure, but
it's a very typical summer seasonal.
Yeah,
right.
I think don't try and get too excited about summer. We've seen historically that summer, along with winter of any anime cycle, tend to have very strong tops in terms of good series that are 8s and up, but a lot of middling shows in between. So you do have to be a little bit more selective of what you choose to watch this season. Hopefully today's episode does help you in terms of picking and choosing what you're going to put onto your watch lists for this season.
I think there will be a lot of sequels that are obviously going to be hyped that you are probably going to watch.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
so there's
Bleach, Bungo Stray Dogs, Mushoku Tensei.
So absolutely, those are shows that for any given anime seasonal will be the highlight. But I think sometimes maybe turn off your screen, listen to GAP outside while you touch some grass.
Or you're indoors and not touching grass.
What's it, AstroTurf?
Oh, turf, yeah.
There you go. But hey, Vending Machine though.
Oh, I really like Vending Machine.
What would be the one, I'm thinking, what would be the one show that I've watched that I will be really get on that shit?
Glasses?
No, I don't. I mean, I think Glasses is really good.
I think for me, honestly, it would be Undead Girl Murder Farce. Simply because of the fact that you legitimately have no clue what's going to happen in the next couple of episodes. Yeah. I mean, maybe not you, because you've actually read a little bit of it.
But I would still say Undead Girl Murder Farce is probably the one that stands out. Of course, Villainess to Savior is probably a good choice too. I think Masterful Cat is also a good choice. That
one's another one that I think people should not sleep on either.
But when I look at the catalog, Undead Girl Murder Farce is just the most prominent one that stands out.
I mean, we legitimately just this past season had Dead Mount Death Play. So Undead Girl Murder Farce.
Yeah, I think actually that's correct. I think as much as we like Dead Mount Death Play, this is that in terms of, yo, you should check it out. Don't sleep on that one.
It sounds weird as shit, but hey, just trust us.
Just like how you should trust my housekeeping script, where I will tell you that you can always reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com, GAPALETTE, all lowercase, all one word, using the handle on Twitter @PaletteGood, capital P and capital G, all one word. We also have a GAP Discord. We have a couple of members lately, new members, and we have been conversing. It's been really awesome. We also have a website. We encourage you to check it out, www.goodanimepalette.com. Music credits for this episode. Our intro music is Never or Right Now by ELFL. Our break music is Not Gonna Wake Up, the instrumental version by Mind Me. And our outro music is Like the Ocean by The Big Letdown. You can always support the music artists that we feature by listening to them on Spotify, Apple Music, or other various music listening platforms. And our royalty-free music was provided by Epidemic Sound. If you're interested, you can sign up using the referral link that is included in our show description, but terms and conditions apply. William Wong, our next episode is going to be Anime Closet Cleanup. Have you watched anything yet?
Absolutely not. But I should be able to complete it before recording.
I've watched one episode of Stars Align. Not what I thought. It's actually, like, weird. I'll explain.
Good weird, or will you explain it when the time comes?
I will say, though, good weird.
Okay, nice. I will also let you know how my shows go along. But
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think Alul and Kagame and Review Starlight is the weirdest mismatch of shows ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to see how Review Starlight turns out. But yeah, who knows? It might be something that I just watch a lot because it's just like movies and sequels and whatnot for it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you should probably watch those shows as well, and tell us your thoughts when we get there, though.
Yeah. So before that episode even drops, be sure to, listen to the whole thing again if you need as a reference to be able to pick all your summer seasonals and just watch some anime. There's not going to be like a lot of great anime to watch.
It's also a good time to catch up on shows, in my opinion, right?
Yeah. Spring was stacked.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're going to be using your time not watching summer, then watch spring seasonals.
I mean, actually, to be fair, JJK Season 2 is out now, but also the movie came out not too long ago on streaming platforms. You can watch that before you watch Season 2. I'm going to probably I have to finish the rest of Jobless Season 1 Part 2 before I can even watch Episode 0 and Season 2. Now's the best time to start.
Yep. And if you're not going to be watching summer, like, look, spring was Oshinoko, Demon Slayer, fucking, like, Dangers of My Heart, Heavenly Delusions, Hell's Paradise.
That's the thing.
Dr.
I need
Stone,
to fucking
New
finish
World,
Heavenly Delusions.
Skip and Loafer, Insomniacs After School, Birdie Wing, I think was, Birdie Wing 2, Tonikawa 2, Ancient Magus's Bride, Season 2, Yamada-kun, Level 999, Witch from Mercury, Season 2. There was a lot of shit.
Why are you just reading my on hold list, bro?
That's mine too, dude.
Holy shit.
We're so
fucked.
But don't fuck yourselves. Definitely don't unfuck everything you did by not watching any of the spring stuff and get on it now, because it's going to be a slow burn getting through summer. So take that shit slow. Go through all your spring stuff. God forbid if you didn't finish your winter stuff. But I mean, we're guilty of that shit too. Should we just sign off?
We've all been there, man.
Let's just sign off before we start incriminating ourselves.
Yeah, let's do that.